You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. Disney.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to our program Awakening After the Watchtower with our good friend, former Jehovah's Witness Eric down at Nashville, Tennessee. And we certainly love Eric's program. We're glad he's here with us. I'm going to bring him on right now. Hello, Eric.
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
Well, they're all doing good tonight. We got a good program going here tonight. We got a lot of people calling in, Eric. I'm trying to see if we can't get this video up for you. Give us a second and we'll play it.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me just see why it's not coming up. Give us a second to do that. Okay, let's try this right here. Let's try it right here. Let's share it.
There we go. Just 1 minute.
Well, Troop, you've polished your boots before everyone else. How on God's good earth did you accomplish that miracle?
I just did it exactly the way you told me to. Remove laces, pull tongue forward, apply polish, pull tongue backward, buff, replace laces, repeat. I did the same thing to make my bed and secure my footlocker.
Well, that's the most miraculous turnaround that I've ever seen. I want you to explain to these recruits how the worst soldier in the unit has managed to put them all to shame.
I just stopped thinking. I figured out that using my brain was the whole problem. Not just here, but my entire life. But if I just do exactly what I'm told and nothing else, then everything gets easy. It's not even a question of smart or dumb. You just turn yourself into a tool. I'm much happier that way. I'm the world's happiest tool.
You must be proud of yourself, son.
I don't know if I am or not. I'm waiting for you to tell me.
My God. A soldier like you comes along once in 1,000 years.
Well, thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. You know, it's a little exaggeration, but isn't that what Watchtower wants? They want blind obedience. They want people not to use their brain. That's what they're doing. One of the funny things, if you go back and look at the guys, this is just irony, I guess. If you look at the drill sergeant's name tag, it says Hendrix on it. But it was meant to be for a meme. But yeah, that's what the governing body are doing, and they want mindless idiots to do their work for them. Really scary what the governing body are up to. Let's think about some of the things, and I'll probably miss some of it, but some of the things that they have changed in recently, right? Beards, pants, anyone can repent at the last second, donate all the time. And now you don't have to report field service anymore. All these things are going to start waking people up. They're making too many changes too fast. And then on top of all the changes, there's no new rules for the changes. So there's more rules than there ever has been. Yes, Malcolm in the Middle. I should have said that. Great show. But yeah, I when I saw that clip, re-suggested to me because I've watched this that show quite a bit. I said, dang, that has a lot to do with what Watchtower's looking for. That's what makes a good circuit overseer. That's what makes a good elder. That's what makes a good pioneer or whatever, or Bethelite. Anybody that's just willing to follow orders like the Nazis, you know, without thinking. That is the perfect soldier to do what really disgusting things, right? Some soldiers, not all of them, but some soldiers like that are in the ops. They have to do really horrible things like murdering civilians. That's not honorable. But then you got the witnesses. They're doing the same thing. They're not murdering, but they might as well be if they're going to rip you from your families and it causes suicide. I mean, maybe murder would be a better option than being thrown out into the world with no connections, or friends, or family, or social life, or social network. It's awful, guys. You know. Something I wanted to bring out that Watchtower has done that I found while I was doing research. And I don't know if y'all know about this, correct me, but I've only been woke up for I don't know how many years, but it hasn't been, even though I've been disfellowshipped a long time, it took me longer. It took me a while for both of us, my wife and I, to wake up entirely. Like we started getting little notions, and every time we think they have something right, we get shocked because after research, it seems like they got very little right. But anyways, this is a 71 Watchtower in December 15th, and I'm not going to read the whole thing at all. If the witnesses want to say I read it out of context, I'm going to read a good portion of the paragraph, but I'm not going to get into this whole explanation of why the governing body is different than a legal corporation. That's the title of it. So on Friday morning, October 1st, 1971, the legal corporation known as Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania held its annual corporation meeting. This time held in the Assembly Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses at Buckingham, Pennsylvania. All 7 members of the board of directors of said society attended and had a part in the program presented. The membership of this society is limited to 500 at the most, there being at present 450 such members throughout the earth. Many of these members attended this annual corporation meeting in person, still more by means of proxy. Altogether, 2,706 attended this corporation meeting, doubtless all of them being interested Christian witnesses of Jehovah. I mean, Jesus, the freaking proof is right there that they're a corporation. I mean, I know it goes on to say, to explain that there's a difference between the governing body and the head of the 12 directors. And I'm just like, who are these directors? I didn't know about any of this. Maybe, and y'all have probably been out longer than me, but the article, the Watchtower, I promise you how boring it is. It goes on and on and on to justify that the governing body are religious, or excuse me, biblical, and that there was an original governing body. So they've been peddling these lies for that long. And I was born in 81, but I'm not aware of this Watchtower. And I just found it really interesting that they're calling themselves corporate people. I mean, it's insanity. They're admitting to it. It looks like I have a guest here. Let me let someone on. Oh, it's Rick. But yeah, I thought it was crazy that that they're admitting it basically. And then when you read the crap that they're telling you, you're like, yeah, this is a poor excuse, or trying to say that it's a poor excuse of trying to defend how the governing body are not a part of a legal corporation, or different than a legal corporation, in their words. I mean, governing body is a corporate term. I've even looked it up I know you all have too, but I've looked it up a long time ago and found that out for myself. It has nothing to do with biblical. So they're fooling us like that. These men are deceivers. They've been deceiving us for a long time. I've had my beard for 4 or 5 years, whoever asked in the comment section, somewhere around there. But these men are gigantic deceivers. They can't stop because they've been doing it for so long. This is all they know. I believe these men believe some of it, but they know they're lying to the people. But I think somehow in their stupid minds that they actually think that they have anything to do with the faithful steward or slave or whatever you want to call it. That's in the Bible. But that's one thing that I noticed from Watchtower. I'm just going to read one more thing that I noticed from another Watchtower, and this is all going to tie in. So sorry if I'm boring everybody. It's a short paragraph. This is shorter, but this is a February 28th, April 3rd, 28th through April 3rd, study article number 1, paragraph 14. That's it. What can we do now to prepare for the future? First of all, we need to have a proper view of material things, realizing that one day we will have to part with what we have. We also need to be content and to find joy in our relationship with Jehovah. The better we get to know our God, the more convinced we will be of this ability to protect us when Gog of Magog attacks. Wow. I don't know. Like Dan Clark has touched on this, and Dan and Angela Clark. And I think it was the last video that they did. They're after your possessions. I believe it. I mean, I know it's all skepticism right now, but like, they're putting it in their teachings. They're putting it in. They've been prepping the people for it a long, long time. And I think that, I mean, you know what? Even when I was a Jehovah's Witness and I was physically in, mentally in, Femi, sorry. I think I talked to my mother one time about us leaving our homes or leaving everything we had. I mean, this is something that's been burned into us. I ain't leaving my home now. You can kiss my, you know what? But I think the most retarded thing to do is to leave your home in a time of a crisis. If the crisis isn't like a war zone, you know. I mean, I have food stocked up. I don't have a to-go bag. I have a stay-at-home pantry. Sometimes you can see it. Yeah, you can kind of see some of it in the background. It's all full of food, canned food and stuff. I'm fine. I mean, I'll be okay. I won't be living pretty. I got to figure out water. But I'm getting off the point. The point is though, is that they're preparing us for something, and it might not be a Jim's Jones where you sacrifice your life, but it might kill you. They might be sending you to the slaughter. One thing that Dan and Angela brought up too is the FEMA camps. I mean, that's what our government has. They have these things spread out throughout all the country. And hold on one second. I'm just gonna add someone. They have these spread out through all the country, and I see very similarities of what Watchtower. I mean, that Watchtower and the government are in kind of cahoots together. I've heard people on Reddit getting disfellowshipped for talking negatively against the jab. That's not very biblical. It sounds very authoritarian. But that's some of the things going. We got Aaron back here backstage with us. What do you think, Aaron, of some of the points I brought up?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, actually, I just wanted to comment on the Malcolm in the Middle thing. Well, I think I'm only a year or two younger than you, and that was our show back in the day. You know, I mean,
Hell yeah.
I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but I've had Netflix for quite a long time, and
It's on Hulu.
I've rewatched. Oh, okay, good. Yeah,
I
I've
think it's on
rewatched the
Hulu.
show. That's great. I only have Netflix right now, but yeah, I would always be willing to go back and rewatch it, because that show, I swear it was one of the most best, well-written, ingenious shows that I have ever seen. And I've seen shows
I can
from a
never
lot of
stop
decades.
laughing when I watch. In fact, I was on the phone with somebody and I was watching the show and he called me and I bust out belly laugh. And I think it was when Hal had like he told his three boys, I'll give somebody $5 if they take the fall right now. And they're like, well, what's the fall? He's like, I can't tell you. You just have to take it. He's like, $10, deal. And then he's like, I got him on. And he brings him downstairs. And all you hear in the background is the wife, Lois, going, oh, my God. Oh, my God. I don't think it ever tells what happens, but it was probably a bathroom incident.
Yeah, speaking of
But man,
bathroom incidents, there was one episode where
Watchtower. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was the one episode where I guess it was Malcolm and Reese had to steal a certain number of toilet seats from a junkyard, and that they wanted to beat their older brother Francis's record, and they did. And then later in the show, Francis, even though he was married and out on his own, he came back and did it to beat their record so he could get it back.
That's funny.
Yeah,
it was a good show for our childhood, man. Especially if you were raised Jehovah's Witness, just good, clean humor, and from a worldly perspective, not a Jehovah's Witness perspective. It was a good show. I liked it.
Yeah, good.
I thought it
humor.
fit. I thought tonight's clip fit. What I was trying to say about them wanting mindless idiots.
Oh, it's
good
perfect.
to laugh, man.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what else is a good something I just thought of out of the blue is the movie Forrest Gump. And I had to look up the quote because it was when Forrest Gump was in the army for a while. So the quote goes like this. The drill sergeant says, "Gump, what's your sole purpose in this army?" Forrest Gump says, "To do whatever you tell me, drill sergeant." And then drill sergeant says, "GD it, Gump. You're a GD genius. That's the most outstanding answer I have ever heard. You must have a GD IQ of 160. You are GD gifted, Private Gump. Listen up, people."
That's right.
And then Forrest Gump says, "Now, for some reason, I fit in the army like one of them round pegs. It's not really hard. You just make your bed real neat and remember to stand up straight and always answer every question with, 'Yes, drill sergeant.'" And drill sergeant says, "Is that clear?" Forrest Gump says, "Yes, drill sergeant."
That's awesome. I forgot about that, actually. I haven't seen Forrest Gump in a while, but I remember it now that you say it. But, like, you know, I don't always look at everything the same as I do now, breaking free from a cult and just being older. It's been a minute since I've seen that movie. It's a good movie. But yeah,
Hello.
good point, man. Hello.
How you guys doing?
All right.
Hi.
I'm
Somebody
enjoying
on the phone?
I'm enjoying listening to you guys. Can you hear me?
Good to hear. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, I got a quick question for you guys, because I came in on the tail end of the conversation. But do you guys, as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses like myself, sometimes find certain parallels in certain movies and certain franchise that kind of like trigger like a lot of memories and sometimes make you wonder, like, man, I wonder if whoever wrote this was exposed to the organization at all?
I agree. Yeah, a lot of times I think that, and then a lot of times I think about music and movies that it's also open to interpretation to each one of us. We all can take something different from a movie or from a piece of music and see how it applies in our life, even if if it wasn't what the theme is. But some of these movies and some of these songs, you really got to wonder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because and then there's a thing about where I'm going with this is like sometimes without really trying to find parallels and looking at things, you find out that a lot of people that you never would have thought that are in Hollywood that are writers for a lot of these shows did grow up Jehovah's Witness. There's a show that was on. It's not like back in the day. Remember, like before, like internet and Netflix and all that. Like pretty much whatever was on, and everybody would watch the same thing for the most part. But I was listening to NPR randomly the other day, and there was a show that won all these awards about a principal in a school. It's based upon like principals and teachers or whatever. It's like a comedy. And then out of the blue, the woman was saying how she was raised a Jehovah's Witness, and that influences a lot of the things that she addresses and all that kind of stuff in the show. But it's just crazy. I'll just throw one out there. A lot of the Star Wars stuff, I just always draw so much parallels to growing up being a Jehovah's Witness.
What did you say about the Star Wars stuff? I missed that.
I just see, Star Wars, even some of the newer stuff that's going on, I just see so much parallels with growing up being a Jehovah's Witness. And I don't know if you guys ever watched
I tell you what, you're talking to the right person, but I don't want to kill my audience, but because I'm known for giving Star Wars analogies and Lord of the Rings analogies all the time on my program for Jehovah's Witness stuff. And for people, I think my boy from Australia, he said it ain't it. Huh?
I said, well, it's very relevant, and in Bethel, they were very afraid of Star Wars. They would kick you out if you watched it, and they used to say that it was a rival ideology. But hey, man, I'm not gonna take too much time. I'm gonna check out. I just wanted to say hi.
Well, thanks for calling in. What's your name? I don't recognize you.
Did he hang up?
Well, that was that. Hung up.
His name is Josh Rivera. Josh Rivera.
Hi, Rick.
Oh, oops.
Hi, Bobby. What you want to say? What you want to say to Eric, Bobby?
What? I saw him the other time. I tried to get on the show the last time. His wife got
Oh, sorry about that if you didn't get on.
Yeah, last time I didn't get
Just hang on. Hey, Bobby, just hang on 1 second. Rick's got to redo the phone lines. They went
I'm
out every
sorry.
6 hours. No, it's not your fault. Just you'll have to talk over a noise unless he's done.
Yeah, when that phone hangs up like that. Where's the guy
Yeah,
from the
he might be
bottom?
done. Oh, maybe he's done. Go ahead
Where
then.
you-
The floor is yours.
Where's the guy on the bottom from?
You mean
Come
me?
again?
The guy under you. Where's he from?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm from Delaware, USA.
You're not a cook, are you?
I mean, I'm a jack of all trades. I can cook, I can clean, I can, do a lot of stuff.
Well, I like watching Top Chef today, and the guy looked exactly like you on Top Chef. He did. I'm telling you, he did look like him. I like your beard too. A very good beard. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
We'll
Are you
talk
from New York?
Originally, I am. How you know that?
Your hat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You got the Jets hat. You get the Jets hat, my brother.
I usually come on my Yankee hat. Yeah. Yeah. Are you from New York too?
I'm from Rhode Island, 3 hours away. So I'd be a Red Sox fan or a Celtics fan.
Well, I hope the
What's that?
Celtics. I hope the Celtics sweep those pieces.
I haven't watched sports in a while, but I live in Tennessee now. I had to escape Rhode Island
Tennessee.
because of all my apostasy.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
But I
wow.
like your beard. It's cool. Okay, so let's talk great stuff.
Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
You know that guy who got kicked out of the governing body? What's his name? I'm so happy.
Anthony Morris.
Tony
Morris.
Tony Morris.
Yeah, oh man, I'm glad that he got kicked out. Did he get kicked out, right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad because I got this fellowship twice, and I am glad that he got what he deserved. This guy walks into the liquor store, and he filmed them buying $900 worth in liquor, right? So I told my dad, he's an elder right now, right? So I told my dad I saw Tony Morrison on YouTube. Oh no, don't watch those videos. That's not true. It was on a Sunday, and he skipped the meeting to go to get $900 worth of booze. So that was he did it in person. I didn't when I got this fellowship. It wasn't publicly known what I did. The second reason why I got this fellowship is because I was staying with my wife before we got married. We stayed together, and you're not supposed to do that in the Jehovah's Witnesses, right? But I did not care what they said. I loved the girl, so her ex-husband left her, and then she said, come with me, because I used to drive her to work, and that's how we got together. And
how dare you want to spend time with your loved one?
I know, like the lady brought out. Do you hear the lady at when that barber lady was talking to her? She had 4 husbands, right? The third one was a moron. Well, the last one was a great husband. The first 3 were idiots, But she was bringing up the point that, with dating in Jehovah Witnesses, you can't date. You have to, when you're dating, you have to have chaperones. How are you going to not know the person if you don't spend time with them? Like she said that they got married 6 months right away, and she didn't like him, So, if you don't spend time with the person before you get married, you're definitely gonna get trouble down the road. So me and her have a daughter. We're divorced now, but my daughter's almost 17, almost 18. Yeah, she's graduating this year. So. Yeah, how you like when you were growing up? You grew up Jehovah's Witnesses, both of you?
I did.
I did, yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fourth generation born in, both my
Oh,
wife and I.
that's wonderful, isn't that? No, I didn't grow up.
Oh, yeah.
I met,
It's a spiritual heritage. Remember they used to call it that?
you want to hear the story how I got in
Some
the truth?
heritage. I lost all my family because I don't agree with the governing body.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
9 fat losers from New York.
Yeah, this fellowshipping is one of the worst things ever to do to people. Okay, so
Yeah, absolutely.
when I first
Well, I guess sacrificing your life over a blood transfusion would be number one, in my opinion.
yeah, well,
and
yeah,
then
I
the
don't know
second
how-
one, because that's outright fucking. I'm sorry, outright sacrifice to Watchtower.
Does it say in the Bible you can't do that? Where in the Bible does it say you can't do blood transfusions? Is that a scripture?
Well, the thing is the penalty for eating blood was a 1 day unclean, Mark. You were
Well, you're not
unclean for a
eating
day.
blood. You needed
You
to
didn't lose your
survive.
family.
Right, I know, right?
So even to use their own like thinking against them, it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense at all.
No, I agree with you 100%. Because when I first started, okay, I was doing laundry back in Queens for my parents, right? So I coming out of a laundromat, I met Dennis. That's the one who I wish I never talked to in the beginning. First thing, I wish I never talked to him because I like to talk to people. And he came up to me, oh, do you know God's real name? I said, no. And he said, it's Jehovah. So we talked about an hour and a half. And me, dummy, gave him our address where we lived in Queens, then the phone number, right? So we would talk across the street from the church I go to, Lady of Snows. So that's kind of weird how that worked out, right? So I got home. He gave me the wonderful magazines to watch 10 weeks, right? So I go home. I say, Dad, you want to look at these magazines? And he says, throw them in the garbage. Throw them in the garbage. So I did. Then a couple of weeks later, guess who came over the house? Good old Dennis. And that's what started the whole thing. Ugh, why did I ever talk to him? So do you like growing up in the truth?
Ask your question again about the truth.
Do you guys like growing up in the truth?
No, it was a nightmare for me. I had violent parents and elders always in my business and little
Elders
shithead
are
elders.
always in your business.
Elders, the kids of the elders, the sons and the daughters, they're all little shits. I just didn't, I had a mouth, like I always like expressed myself. So I made a lot of enemies. I'm a lot of friends too, but a lot of good the friends did me.
Sorry for you on that one. Okay. All right, I'm just
very, very toxic. And it's funny that, not funny, but it's ironic that my father and my mother, well, my father was my father was an elder, my mother a pioneer.
Right.
And all this abuse, holes being punched in the wall, blankety blank this. One time my mother threw a metal mop at the mop with the little metal thing at the end at my father, and it caught her hand and ripped her open. She had to get stitches. Just violence in the house. Kids getting beaten, them beating up each other. And they're supposed to be an example. My father and I even had a part at a convention about family worship. I'm like, family worship? I felt so weird doing that.
Oh my God.
Our family worship was family fights. It was like Royal Rumble, like from wrestling.
Okay, you want to hear? I got a couple of stories for you. You got to flip out on this. Okay, you know how the Watchtower is, when you study with your parents for the family study. So when my dad was in charge, he took charge. Oh, let's do our Watchtowers on Saturday, right? He'll come up with a beer during the meeting, right? During the study, I was going to throw that beer right against the wall. I said, what the hell are you doing? You drink a beer during the, that's being hypocritical right there off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the memorials? You like the memorials? One time when I brought my ex-wife to the memorial, okay? I was disfellowshipped, okay? So my mother, my ex-wife, and these other three sisters were talking to each other. Then this big ass mouth lady came up, Sister Dinkle. Okay, she goes, "What's the matter, darling? You could talk to us, but he can. He's disfellowship." Oh my God! You know how you said you got a big mouth? I was surprised I didn't blow my top. I would have told her off. I bit my tongue so much. This religion is so hypocritical. It's unbelievable. Do you guys agree?
Oh, absolutely, man. I think I've seen nothing but hypocrisy from this
Yeah.
religion. I don't know if you guys agree, but what about all the elders whose daughters and sons are protected under the like good old boys club? You know?
Oh, yes. Agree.
Oh, your daughter did what? Yeah, we'll bury it. It's not
Yeah.
public knowledge. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, what's
Well, at least that's how it was in Rhode Island. And Rhode Island is very like small state, like corrupt.
Yeah.
It's just corrupt by nature. It's a blue state. It's very, very
Right.
corrupt. Always has been. It's the
Okay.
mafia thrived in Providence at one point, but I don't think they thrive as much anymore. I think they became politicians more and
Yeah.
do things corrupt politically, not because you can't get away with murder like you used to.
Oh, I know, right?
You can't intimidate people, but the mafia was so big in Rhode Island that I know Jehovah's Witnesses that come from mafia families. They're not.
No
they
way.
never were themselves. But
Really?
yeah. I know two elders that both had. One of the elders was an associate of the mafia before he was studying. No, I'm sorry. His wife was studying with John Brayton, this guy, an elder in the Riverside congregation.
Oh,
And this is back in like the 60s. This is back in the 60s. And they were elderly when I knew them. But or in their 60s. They're elderly now. But he was not in the mafia, but he was an associate of them. He had a crew. He was within a crew. And the sister his wife, the sister, was studying with John Brayton, this elder, and he didn't. The husband was like, "Who the heck is this guy coming by?" You know, and she's like, "Oh, he just studies the Bible with me." He didn't like it. He didn't like it one bit, and he told his compadres, his goombas, his friends, and they're like, "Let's go break his knees, and he'll never come by again."
Oh.
And he said, "Okay." And then he got a guilty conscience, and he said, "No, I don't. Hold on, I'm going to deal with it my way." So he sat in with a Bible study, and then the guy got baptized with his wife. But the funny thing is this guy. I used to work for him when I was a teenager, and he told me the story, and he looked me dead in the eyes. He's like, "Eric, you have no idea how close John got his legs broken. Really, he was a disrespectful man to me back then, and he didn't deserve that though, and I was wrong. But now I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, well, he was pushing a cult down your throat. Yeah, and this man, he ended up he had a lot of issues, and he ended up getting disfellowshipped in the end of the elder that brought him into the so-called truth. He got disfellowshipped twice for alcoholism, and it killed him. I think he had guilty consciences of things he did, like questions. He would ask the most inappropriate questions in the elders' room.
Elders do that
even
all
with guys
the time.
like if you had to get baptized by this guy, he would ask you if you masturbated first in the questions. That's not even in the.
He really asked that question.
He'd ask the sisters and the brothers if they masturbate, and these are teenagers. These are freaking kids.
Yeah, it's none of his business. He shouldn't
16,
be doing
15, 17-year-olds.
Oh, that's sick. You have any stories of your life in you grew up there too? The guy on the bottom.
Aaron, he's talking to you, Aaron.
Yeah. Well, I told my full story a few weeks ago on the 6 screens, but basically, I, it was a standard growing up in the JW life, and I was ridiculed a lot, and honestly, I tried not to talk about it too much.
No, I don't blame
you. To other kids, but sometimes it had to come up. And then, of course, once it comes up, I mean, you're pretty much spreads like wildfire, and you can't ever live that down. So, yeah, it was.
Okay, how was holidays in school for you? It must have been horrible.
Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can hear you.
Sorry, I think my mic went out for a second.
So what about
What
holidays
did you,
for you in school? Were they horrible for you guys?
holidays? Well, I guess by the time I got to high school, I was just really indifferent to them,
Yeah.
and I tried not to participate per se, but I didn't really do what I did when I was in grade school, as far as trying to get out of the classroom when when the subjects were brought up and all that, and the movies were shown and all that stuff. I didn't really care anymore by that point. So
Yeah.
as I got older, the waking up process became more gradual for me.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's so strict, that religion. You can't do anything. But your parents could do anything. They could get drunk, and then they wake up in the morning, then they go preaching on the Saturday morning. Oh, look at me, I'm going to preaching. What's that? What does that say? I agree, Debbie. What did Debbie
I was
say?
trying not to.
Debbie's
I was trying not to. I was trying not to interrupt you all and just do a note to her because I can't.
Oh, no.
I can't do anything on the keyboard. But I was just. Debbie says y'all need a woman to come on the show, and I said I agree. Call in.
Yeah.
Well,
Get on.
Yeah. This doesn't have to be a sausage fest.
well,
Come on.
well, I have the stream open in the next tab over, so I just tab over to that when I want to type in the chat. But I'm using my laptop, so I don't know
I
what
think
device.
you should come
you're
on
on.
StreamYard then to talk. That lady today,
Yeah, right.
did you see Deanna today? She's awesome. Did you hear her story?
It was a great story, wasn't it?
I cried. I tell you, if I was her, I would have killed all three of them. I'm telling you right now. The way they treated
I couldn't
her.
stop listening. It was just. It was one thing after another for this poor sister.
I know. I cried.
It's gut wrenching.
But the fourth husband is great to her. The fourth.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Then okay. Then
really, when you think about it, it's almost like she should have had four dates in one marriage, right? Like really.
Right,
I mean, I know that's like a dream that doesn't always happen, but when you're with Watchtower, you have no idea how to date, and because the way they tell you to do it. With my wife and I, we barely got to know each other either.
You had to have
barely.
chaperones all the time, right?
It wasn't all right. Like, so my wife was from Florida, and I'm from Rhode Island, and we were both living separately from each other. We met on AOL.com back in the 90s.
Oh, AOL! I
remember the dial-up.
Dial-up.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But they had a Jehovah's Witness section on AOL back then, and a lot of people were connecting. Yeah.
No way.
They didn't have an XJW one, or maybe they did, and I don't know. Actually, they did, because there's an older sister that calls in and said that on AOL.com, she was a part of a very small group of an XJW community on it, and I'm like, that's awesome, because I was on the community part of it for friends and girlfriend potentials and stuff. Well, I was not at first, really. Just friends and being able to talk to girls and meet new different people. But I just happened to Desiree happened to message me first, and then we just started talking and it hit off. But my parents were cool. I mean, I'm sorry, her parents were cool and let us be alone, but my parents absolutely not. It was like chaperone at all time. It's somebody at all times. It was awful. And then being separate from a long distance relationship, it's just harder to get to know each other. We did talk a lot on the phone and chat a lot online, which helped. Do
you talk to your parents at all?
What's that?
Do you talk to your parents at all?
I haven't talked to my parents in 8 years.
Well, I could have.
I think I talked to them. They called me twice. They called me when my grandfather died, and
sorry.
And they called me someone else. Did they call me when my grandmother died? I don't even remember. But they called me for something else. But I've called them when I was in the hospital, bleeding out internally, and they wouldn't pick up the phone. Don't you wish Watchtower would show that when they show the girl that calls her parents in the drama? And
I love those videos.
They don't pick up, and she's like outside just trying to talk to them. Well, why don't they show reality, what really happens behind the closed doors. Me
Oh, I
bleeding out in the
know. Yep.
hospital, just wanting to talk to a familiar face because I was alone. You know, I had nobody with me at the time.
If I knew you at the time,
And
I would have answered the phone. I would have talked to you.
I know you would have. That's because we're in a good community here. All of you would have, and I would have as well for the
I
same.
know. I
Because
like
we're all
Rick.
brothers and sisters
He's
here.
awesome.
Because we're not kept bound by rules to be friends
Oh
with
my
each other,
God.
or we don't have to think the same to be friends. Hey, you like peanut butter ice cream? Well,
Yeah,
I like strawberry. We can't be friends.
I know, right? Yep. You can't have
I
any.
know I'm putting it in layman's terms, but yeah.
Yeah, how were your conventions when you went there? Which ones do you go to? What was the worst convention?
So New York, you probably wouldn't know them, but Natick, Massachusetts is probably known to
Natick.
stick.
I used to go to Natick. That's assembly.
You did?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, that's assembly. You're right. Sorry, I always confuse Natick with Amherst. Amherst was the convention.
Yeah.
Yep. Amherst, Massachusetts. It was like a college campus.
Oh,
and it was like a
Amherst.
college
Yeah, I
town.
used to go. I go there.
Amherst.
Yeah. Well, I don't go there.
You went there too? No shit.
Yep.
Huh. No kidding. Small world.
Oh.
Yeah, New York, huh? Oh, well, I guess we always got people from different parts of even though New York's not New England, sometimes it would merge over.
No, I live in Vermont now.
Oh, okay. Oh,
It's
that's how
right
you
down
know it.
the road
Okay, I
from
got
us.
you, man.
My brother
Yep.
goes there all the time for conventions. Ugh, freak. I don't like.
You know
that.
what? Conventions were the worst thing ever. I think I'd rather do service than a convention, because service is over in 2 hours. You get a break. You usually F off for like 30, 40 minutes at a nice restaurant.
How many days do you have? 3 or 4 days conventions?
I had 3.
Yeah, me too. What about you on the bottom? 3?
I
Aaron?
seem to remember. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear.
I seem to remember when I was really young, maybe 1 or 2 4-day conventions, but mostly of what I remember was 3 days. But then again, I'm younger than a lot of people in the audience. So
Well, you are very young looking. Yeah, I'm 56 almost. I'm old for it.
Well, I'm 40, and I think Eric is what?
42? I thought you were like 25.
Yeah, you're right.
40?
Yeah, no, I get that all the time.
No, you
so
don't.
I do
You
appreciate
look young,
that.
man.
No, you look.
Yeah,
do I look 56?
he's 2 years younger than me, so he looks great.
Oh wow! Do I look 56?
Now, if I grew a beard, I would maybe look older too. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nah, you still got your hair, bro.
Hey, do you use Papa John's beard stuff?
Papa John's? What's that?
Yeah, it's
the pizza place.
No, it's for the beard.
No, I don't do nothing with my beard except shampoo and condition it and comb it. That's it.
All right, that's fine.
People tell me, like Brad from Australia tells me to put beard oil in it. Because then, like, if you are thinking and you like stroke your beard, you got all the oil in your hand. Because I used to put coconut oil on. I don't know. Yeah, it's not my thing.
Okay,
I don't think I need it. You know what's nice about the beard, though? You don't get a sunburn and you don't get acne. Go ahead, Pixie. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I thought conventions were the worst because they didn't hand out little water bottles or anything. And like my family members would faint. And one time when I was a young teen and went with my 2 very hip cousins, I nearly fainted. There was no concern for the audience's health or anything.
Where do you go to?
Were you indoors? Were you indoors or outdoors,
No,
Pixie?
they were out hot. It was hot in the southern summers and humid and no shade, and it was terrible.
Yeah, but where do you go for your conventions?
The American South, sir, where it's hot.
Well, I went to Philadelphia one time. It was the same thing. They gave us warm water, warm soda, and these disgusting sandwiches. So we all, me, my parents, and my brother decided to go out. The trucks were outside. So one of these brothers, Mr. Big Mouth, says, "Oh, you can't buy from worldly people." What? I want a cold drink and something cold, So lay off of me. I told him, God, can't buy from worldly people. Oh my God, that I could write a whole book about conventions. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, we went to the vet
I
stadium.
wanted to ask Eric if, when he read about the corporate meeting, is it Watchtower, 2 words, for that corporation, and how many members were on that directorate?
Yeah, I have it written down, and I made sure I did it word for word because I went back and corrected a couple things I got wrong when I wrote it down. Okay, ask me your question again because I just found my notes.
You said they had a board of directors, so they had a directorate of 12?
It says here. I'm just fast forwarding to it here. Hold on 1 second.
And where was
Okay,
this?
so it says the legal corporation known as Watchtower Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania held its annual corporation meeting, this time held in the Assembly Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses at Buckingham, Pennsylvania. All 7 members of the board of directors of said society attended the board of directors. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that twice. The board of directors of said society attended and had a part in the program presented. The membership of this society is limited to 500. At the most, there being at present 450. Such members throughout the earth.
What is the name of the town again, please?
It is. I see Pennsylvania. I'm just looking for the name of it. Buckingham.
Is it Buckingham?
Buckingham. Yep.
And is it Watchtower, 2 words?
I'm not sure about that because I didn't write it completely word for word. I abbreviated it WTB.
Okay, because I think the original one of Pennsylvania is Watch.
If you go to the 71 Watchtower of December 15th, you'll find it.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, if you go to jw.org and if you go to jw.org and if you just type in, what did I type in? Governing body. I think it's one of the first 3 or 4 or 5 that pop up. Something like that. It's like it might be even the first one.
Right. The directors are different than the governing body. And in London recently, Watchtower, as 2 words, just built, it's not in London, it's in another part of Britain. They just built a huge complex.
Wow. Huh. What is this complex?
Watchtower with a capital W and a capital T, like the original corporation, and it wasn't London Bethel that was financing it.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. So
thanks for adding that. That's really cool.
They have lots of money in lots of places.
Yeah. What's that building they're building up in New York for the studio? What's that called?
Ramapo.
Thank you. I forgot the name of it. Yeah. Why are they building that for? That costs a lot of money. Why are they building that?
I don't know. That seems to be something Rick knows a lot about. But
can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, it's Zachary.
Hi, Zach.
Hi.
Hey, Zachary.
I'm hearing this. Well, hi, how are you? I'm hearing this Watchtower, 1 word or 2 words. I do know this from the many times I've seen the letterhead, thousands of times, we can say, right, in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it's Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania, that's 2 separate words, watch and tower. Whenever it's Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York Incorporated, that's a single word, Watchtower.
That's right. And what was so interesting was this new London project is Watch, capital T, Tower.
Mm-hmm.
So
that would be the Pennsylvania Corporation.
Very interesting.
Okay, that was all I had to say.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, you're welcome. You too.
Have a good night. Wow, that's something else. Why do they have all this money and then they're building all these buildings?
Because they're rich as Midas, and they've always been rich as Midas. When Russell was a young man, he had what would now be considered a whole boatload of money.
Oh,
he had $1 million when $1 million was worth $1 million.
Right.
Before he even started Watchtower.
Who's the one in charge now? Like, it's Rutherford Hayes, and who's now in charge of that thing?
I don't know.
I don't
We don't know who's in charge.
In charge of the corporate.
I have a feeling that the governing body don't have all the power.
Yeah,
oh, they don't. This is what I was saying. They're a religious arm of it, but Watch and Tower with 2 capitals is the corporation that started it.
Right.
I see.
Yeah, true. Look, I'm back here.
Okay.
I want to tell you something that happened when I was a brand new Bethelite, and I was in the same congregation that Max Larson went to, and I was actually in his car group. So there were three of us who were new Bethelites. There was a couple, and there was I, and Max Larson and his wife. They sat in the front seat, and the 3 of us sat in the back seat. Mm-hmm. So we were at the point where, when you first go there, at that time in the late 80s, there were 4 new member lectures, and they were like rotating lectures that you had to attend on a Monday night after Watchtower study. And these lectures were the nights when there were no special other lectures after Watchtower. So you go through those 4 lectures, right? And then in September, something called Bethel Entrance School started up. And that went from September to about June. It's called Bethel Entrance School, ENTRANTS, Entrance. So they told us about the governing body, and they gave us their names and all these other details. So we're in the car, after having had that lecture, and we're going out to the congregation for, the service meeting and theocratic ministry school. And Max Larson asked the question. So, we're telling our newfound knowledge. And Max Larson asked the question, well, who are the directors? And the 3 of us look at each other like, huh? The directors? The directors? And then we said, they didn't tell us the directors. They told us the governing body. And Max Larson's like, oh.
Maybe he wanted to know too.
Well, no. I think the way it was is Max Larson was one of the directors.
Oh, really? Oh,
when he was expecting, I guess, when they used to have this school, or primary school used to be called before that, they used to go by the directors. And now they had changed it, and they were emphasizing, the emphasis was on now the governing body. And so I guess it was a little disappointing to Max Larson that we didn't say, oh, the directors are so-and-so and so-and-so, and including his name. Barbara Anderson earlier mentioned one of them, and when they were talking about the Adams, one of the Adams brothers was, Max Larson was the vice president of one of the corporations. And when I went to visit, I was out of Bethel by 2000, but when I went back to visit, he told me, because we were cool, and he told me he told me that he was the president of the New York Corporation.
Wow!
So that and now to me, I really do look at the governing body as this spiritual group that directed the religious doctrine more so of the corporation, and the directors are legal things like the president, the vice president, the secretary, the treasurer, and other members of the board. They are a required part if you have a corporation. So to me, it was no big deal. I understand it. I understood it, and I still understand that separation of the two.
Yeah, but they don't like politics. How are they going to be president, vice president?
No, I feel like if you have a corporation, and I feel like if you have a corporation, the corporation is a legal entity, and a legal entity needs people like the president, the vice president, and all those other things. They have to have that.
Yeah, but
that group does not decide on doctrine for the whole religious group. That group is sort of a legal group. The board of directors, that is a legal thing that's required when you have a corporation, whether it be a for-profit corporation or a not-for-profit corporation. I understand that.
That's a fact.
But I did understand. I did see what Brother Larson was hoping for. He thought they were still emphasizing the board of directors, and now they were talking about the governing body instead. And that's the way it became.
Yeah. It's just crazy how
when the guy recently said that they were going to be the new kings. To me, that was offensive to actual kings. It was offensive to Christ the King. And if you if you're going to have, you can have lots of princes, but there's like one king in any nation.
Yeah.
Well, in the witness doctrine, the witness doctrine is that the anointed 144,000 would be king priests, and they always showed them.
And they said princes a lot, but they didn't say we're your kings.
They said that the 144,000 were king priests, and they said their teaching was that from among elders, and I guess you could say ministerial servants, there would be princes in all the earth. Their teaching was never that all of the elders or ministerial servants would be princes, but from among them there would be princes in the earth. That's the way I remember it.
I remember.
How many do they have left on the earth? 144,000.
But Winder just went on. He just went on his network and said, "We're your kings."
Yeah.
And it just struck me the wrong way, and I don't miss them.
Well, they used to
it actually I don't mean to be a smartass, but it actually was or to correct you, but it wasn't Winder, it was Gary Bro, the helper to the governing body.
Oh, Gary Bro.
In our future,
they all kind of look the same to me.
You know why? I don't think a governing body would want to do that. I don't think they want to claim that. Let Gary Bro do it.
How many more?
Gary Bro was one of my instructors for Kingdom Ministry School, and it was like in the early 90s sometime. I attended one of the Kingdom Ministry schools in the Midwest, and I remember him saying, "This is going to be real rich. And I think it was the Kingdom Ministry School where they discussed, what do you call it? Sybil's the one with all the multiple personalities.
It was a movie based on a psychiatric case.
Yeah. So when people have multiple personality disorder and also repressed memories, they had a Kingdom Ministry School where they discussed all that stuff back in the early 90s. And Brother Bro was the lead instructor.
What an unusual thing to be discussing, since that typically is caused by a lot of very traumatic abuses, plural.
Yes. Well, what they said would happen. One of the things was there was an Awake magazine or a Watchtower magazine that discussed that stuff. Of course, I wasn't keeping up with every single magazine, so I had missed it. But he mentioned that the magazine had footnotes, those little asterisks at the bottom. And he said that a lot of people were going out. It could have been a lot of the elders and stuff, but they went out and they looked at the actual books. And he made the point that the society never intended for people to go out and look at the books that were being referred to. And that whole thing was about repressed memories and what happens when someone accuses someone of abusing them. If you're a victim and you claim that someone else did all this stuff to you, how do you handle that? And that was when they mentioned if a person accuses another person and the other person doesn't admit it or confess, then in that case, it is one person's word against the other person's word. And you have to leave it in Jehovah's hand. And they said that if the victim person, the person who claims to be the victim, I'll use that language, keeps accusing after the person denies it, then it could become slander. And the person,
unfortunate, since perhaps the person is a true victim of serious crimes. How unfortunate. See, because they don't have people that are doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, priests. They have no educated people except you and me. We're the most educated they got.
I never use absolutes. I never say they have no educated people because they do have. You know what I mean?
In the morning, but yeah, I know. But they don't have them in places of power and position where they could actually help the congregant.
Yeah, I would say as a rule they don't have educated people.
They sure don't.
As a rule,
I agree.
So what can
actually, because Jehovah's Witnesses tend to be bullies, and bullies tend to have low IQ. That's why they shut down when you use the Bible against them. They shut down and they call you names. You're this and that. Oh, you don't believe in our faith anymore, and you did it one time. You filthy apostate.
Oh yeah, they call that lady
you mentally
apostate.
diseased or whatever they call us. Yeah.
Call that lady apostate too, Deanna. The husband called her a apostate, and
because she didn't want to get hit anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's great. She's apostate. Okay, one question for you guys. Do you know how many more of the 144,000 is left on the earth? Do you guys know the number?
I just found out they
probably
changed
about 165,000.
Why did they change it? When did they change that now? When did they do that? Are you kidding around with me?
Going up.
They changed the teaching in 2007.
Yes.
Well, okay, I haven't been really. I just know oh my God, these people change their minds like they change their underwear. Oh my God, Jesus! Oh. I can't believe that.
I was going to say. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Forget it. I'll say it later.
No, you say it first. It's your show.
No, I didn't want to interrupt, but Debbie Moore keeps trying to get on. I'm sorry that the link's not working. I don't know what to tell you. If you want to, you can see if the phone line's on and call in, Deb. But I don't know why it's not working. It should work if you write it down and type it in a new URL.
I tried that one time. Remember, I couldn't get on the show that way. I had to call in.
You did or didn't? You said you did or didn't?
It didn't did work. I called your wife. I talked to your wife on the phone.
Oh, it did or didn't work though?
It didn't work when I did that. You said to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it didn't work for me either.
Oh, okay.
You said Rick's
Yeah.
not
So
here,
if Rick's listening, no pressure, Rick. But if Rick's listening, I don't think anybody can get in, and some people are. The link's
Yeah,
not working.
that's something I'm going to check it right now, Eric. We had Ron Hubbard. Ron Hubbard, how did you get in?
I just clicked the link not too long after the show began, and it worked for me. So, but I'm on a desktop.
Debbie said it disappeared. Debbie said
Well,
the link disappeared.
I refreshed the YouTube page, and the link is still in the description box, and it still works as far as I can tell. But again, I'm on a laptop, so it might not work as well on mobile devices. That's what I'm thinking.
No, I'm on my computer.
I was just going to say, it's usually on the other shows, it's down in the chat. It will not let me do it up on the screen on my phone, even though it's a touch screen. That part won't let me. It's usually got to be down in the body of the chat for it to work.
Usually it does,
well,
yeah.
for me, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what I'll do is I'll put it in the chat. I'll put the link up there right now in the chat and see if that makes a difference. So let me do that. So I'll do that right now, Eric. But the link, the link that's on YouTube right now, Ron Hubbard, he said he could come in from that, and Bobby,
he's on a laptop.
And Bobby, how'd you get in?
I got in this time with the link.
With the link.
Yeah.
All right. So the link is working. So
when I came back. Yeah.
All right. I'll put the link in chat and see if that makes a difference too. Okay.
Yeah,
hang
that
it.
might make a difference. Thank you, Rick. Sorry.
All right.
Also, Rick, you can pin your chat to the top so it doesn't scroll up. If that's
true. A lot of people do that.
Pin it to the top. Okay, I'm not familiar with that, but I'll check it out right now. Okay.
That's right. Yeah, you can do that.
All right, let me try that and see what happens.
Yeah, that's what Vern does. It's pretty handy.
So they really changed the numbers to 165,000. Is she kidding or what?
That's a good.
Yeah, that was kind of a joke.
Okay.
It was a serious joke.
No, I just wanted to know, like
it's
they
probably
say,
666,000 at this point.
No, I'm just saying. Remember, I'm telling you, our family's been around the truth for 40 years. Okay, how long is this system going to end? When they say it was going to end, like 1914, other dates they threw out never happened.
Right. You know why? You know what? Back when we were little itty bitty things in the 60s and 70s, the number of anointed people partaking used to go down, and then in the 80s it stopped going down and it sort of resisted down, and there was sometimes an increase, but it's still low, like less than 12,000, say.
Right.
Then there was always this thing where they started talking about why people might think they have a heavenly hope, but not really have a heavenly hope. You know, maybe they lost someone in death or something like that. But in 2007, they had one of those articles in the Watchtower, like, what is the Bible's view, or what does the Bible say? And in 2007, that's when they said it is quite possible that the number has not yet been sealed.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, you know how we always used to think that the number had been filled, and the only people who were anointed were people who were like replacing somebody unfaithful?
Yeah, that's what I heard that all the time when I was.
Well, in 2007, they suggested that this idea that they had in 1935, perhaps the number had never been sealed. Perhaps it had not come to 144,000. And I think if you check the numbers from then on, you start seeing these bigger increases, you know, in partakers.
But are these real numbers? Or are they just making the numbers up? Are they real numbers?
Well, In partakers, I think I think that the number they get 144,000. They're getting that from Revelation, the 7th chapter, and the number of partakers. As far as I remember, we did count how many people partook in our congregation. I think that the partakers started increasing.
Oh, gotcha.
Actually, after 2007.
Zachary?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, does that mean, did they ever say that Rutherford was wrong? Did they ever say that he was incorrect or jumped ahead, or they never said anything like that? They just said, this is the new thought.
It was kind of thought. Yeah, they never seemed to say wrong, that something earlier was wrong. They just kind of introduced it as perhaps the number had never been filled.
They're wrong.
Their scriptural rationale.
I think that they may have been admitting or suggesting that they were wrong, but that they wouldn't come out and say it. But okay, what else was happening at the time? The other thing that was happening at the time, when you think about it, is they were starting to have new members on the governing body. Starting with Brother Loesch, he was what I call a new member of the governing body. That's my looking at governing body 2.0. Starting with the appointment of Brother Loesch, and then they had another brother, and then another brother. And I know that I'm sorry. If you hear that noise, my window is open and somebody's racing their car.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. I didn't hear nothing.
I didn't.
What kind of car?
Oh, okay, good. I know that Brother Lett. I attended a Bethel meeting. It was around 2007, and Brother Lett was the one who was presiding over that Bethel meeting. And I have to say, that was when they were first sending Bethelites home. And I have to say that I've been to several Bethel meetings at the convention where they try to give a talk and get people to come to Bethel. I have to say that the tension in that room, I've never seen it. Some of the Bethelites that I saw at that meeting, I knew them or recognized them, even though they were not personal friends of mine. I recognized them. And the tension in that room, I could cut with a knife. It was like prior Bethel meetings where there was all this happy and friendly. It was almost like people were afraid for their jobs.
Why is that?
That's what I saw at that meeting.
Why would they say it?
Sorry, go ahead.
Why were they acting that way I thought they were happy?
Oh, usually they're happy, but something new was coming out where they were sending people, they were deciding to, they were going to be sending Bethelites out of Bethel service.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I remember in my congregation, there were two ex-missionaries, and there was a brother who had been to Bethel training school, and there was an ex-Bethelite. And one of the ex-missionaries, when she heard about it, she said, "I can't believe they're doing this." And I said, "I can't believe it either." And I think that sending Bethelites home, that was a thing that new brothers would have decided on, not the old governing body. So when you have all these, see, you know, the teaching is that the number of anointed ones would dwindle. Armageddon comes, and we're in the new system.
Right.
It went on so long that governing body members are dying off. The numbers getting really small.
That's what I'm trying to bring out. Yeah, they're dying off. That should have been The 144,000 should have been done by
They're
now.
going to have to keep replacing with new ones. So Gabe Flegel and Jeffrey Winder, I guess, are the new two guys, and there'll probably be more to replace either the next guys that don't comply with the rules or when they die off.
Also, I think I think it was called
Go
into
ahead, Aaron.
question as to whether these new appointees were even anointed or actual anointed in the first place, wasn't it?
Right.
By some people. I mean, I read about it somewhere. I can't remember where though.
Yeah, that's true.
See, to me, I see, starting with, who's that? Sanderson.
Oh, no, not him. Oh.
Starting with him, I think that's governing body 3.0 starting to develop. He's like the link between 2.0 and 3.0. To me, it's now governing body 3.0 with those two new brothers.
Yeah.
Also with Sanderson, he's like the link between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, because Sanderson seems to be the future.
Who's the black brother?
Doesn't he seem to be the future of the governing body, like the leader?
Who's the black brother?
Sanderson.
The governing
Oh,
body.
that's Samuel Hurd.
Oh, I can't stand him.
Yeah.
Can't stand him.
Hey, you know what? We got two new guests that came in, and Debbie Moore has been waiting a long time. Hi, Debbie. Did you want to say something, hon? I'm great, hon. How are you?
I'm okay, I guess. We got hit by
Yeah,
a tornado
I say
a couple
great,
nights
but
ago.
I'm only great because I'm here with my family. You said what about a tornado?
We got hit with the tornado the other night, 2 nights ago.
You did? Did you get hit? Oh no.
No,
Are you in?
it
Are
was
you?
just
Well,
south
you're
of me.
okay, but
Yeah, I'm fine. I didn't
yeah.
lose anything. My daughter about
Your
had a
trailer's
heart attack,
okay?
though. Yeah. You don't want to be in one
That's
of these
scary.
when there's a tornado.
No.
Oh man.
Did it affect your
I've
daughter?
been in a tornado in one of these. What?
Did it affect your daughter, you said?
Well, no, my daughter, she kind of panicked because she didn't want to leave me at home by myself at my house. But her and her husband, there was a shelter down the street. And I just kept telling her, just go to the shelter. And I just got in the shower and on my shower chair, and she threw pillows on me. And I just kept yelling at her to leave, because I didn't want anything to happen to her and me both, and I would rather me go than her go. And I mean, I've outlived her, I gave birth to her. So and she was freaking out, and she just kept saying, I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said, go, go, go. She said, I'm sorry though. But I felt bad for her because she felt so torn in whether to stay with me or go with her husband. And he was just standing there like, whatever you want to do, hon, we'll do it. And I'm like, just get out of here. Y'all go. And they did. And we were okay.
Well, that's good.
It's still scary.
Boy, I tell
It's a
you
scary
what,
thing to go through.
if I ever doubted that
Why
she
couldn't you go
loved
with
me,
them?
that proves she did,
Yeah.
You said, have you ever doubted what? Say that again, please.
Me and her have always had kind of a rocky relationship. And I mean, she is my caregiver, but if I ever doubted that she actually does love me, she proved it then when she didn't want to leave me and go. She was just torn whether she wanted to stay with me or go with her husband. And I wanted her to go with her husband. And she just kept apologizing how sorry she was, and that she didn't want to leave me. But a wheelchair only won't go that far that fast, and I can't walk. And the neighbors have a basement, but they were out to eat. This kind of creeped up on us. Normally we would get more of a warning, but all of a sudden over our phones, the emergency broadcasting system came over it and said that there is a tornado in your area, take shelter immediately. And it repeated it a couple of times. That will freak you out, just the emergency broadcasting system blaring out over your phone. That was pretty scary. And I've been in tornadoes before. I'm from the South. We had tornadoes all the time.
You can't
but
escape
I lived
them.
in a brick house. This is a mobile home, and it's scary. And because when I was little, I saw it, a brand new mobile home park completely, utterly destroyed. And I've always had a terrible fear of trailers, mobile homes anyway. So being here now, I'm more scared than I've ever been. Plus, I live just a few blocks from the... What?
How long did you have to stay in the shower?
About an hour.
Had your phone with you the whole time, right?
Yes, and I called Scott Walton. He's my pastor. And I asked him to just pray with me because I was really, really scared. And his wife got on the phone. We did a FaceTime talk, which made me feel so much better. I didn't feel completely alone. And it was nice to have them
I'm so
there.
sorry, Debbie. That's scary.
Wow.
That's really rough. I didn't know you went through that. Sorry?
What day was it?
Oh,
The
he asked what day
23rd.
was it, Debbie?
Day before. What is today? Is this Saturday? The
Yep.
25th.
Yeah.
Is it the
25th?
I think it was night before last, which would have been the 23rd. I think.
Wow. So here you are.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still here. I survived. Go figure.
Yeah, that's nice that you
So I
passed
want
the
to say this- and you have
I
a woman
prefer this over the alternative.
I've never had to go through a tornado or anything like that, really. But yeah, that's scary as hell. I'm not really set up for it. And I'm sorry I didn't see anything on it, but I don't follow the news a lot. But Debbie Moore certainly does. She's like, Eric, she called me and she's like, you better be careful. There's a tornado warning coming. And it was actually, it wiped out Hendersonville, a couple spots in Hendersonville, which is the next town over. But it just, I got lucky it didn't hit me. But she was telling me what to do and go to my bathroom because I don't have a basement. There's not a lot of basements here. And there are like in the newer homes, but the older homes, they just have crawl spaces where they put their water heaters and stuff. But yeah.
Wow.
Down
Yeah,
south,
that's a
I
scary place to
never had
be,
a
Debbie.
basement.
I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad nothing got destroyed and your health, you're fine. Thank God.
Okay, everybody, I'm out. Have a good night.
Hey,
Nice
good night.
talking to you,
Oh,
Eric.
thanks for coming on, Bobby. You have a
Good
great night,
night.
man.
Eric,
Nice
you're
meeting you.
awesome. Nice meeting everybody.
Take care.
Yeah, take
Don't be a
care.
stranger.
No, I'll come
Bye,
back.
Bobby.
I like talking to you guys on Saturday nights.
And brother,
Cool. Thanks for
it's
coming
not
on.
65,000. I'm sorry for putting out that bad rumor.
What's that?
I said, remember, I told the brother, remember, it's not 165,000. I'm sorry for putting out that bad rumor.
Oh.
I think the comment that 666,000 was more appropriate too.
But does everyone agree that the 144,000 number should be figurative and not literal?
Absolutely.
Like the little flock of great crowd.
Absolutely, man. The thing is too, like, if it doesn't exist, why would it be open to like people in our modern day? Like, wouldn't it be like Bible characters and just people that were like closer to Jesus? I would imagine if like to use their logic against them, it just wouldn't make sense that they would use, because like, all right, if Jehovah's Witnesses say we're living in the time of the end, well, there's a description of what men would be like in the time of the end, and it's not good qualities. We all know the scripture. I don't have to babble it. So why would God have anointed men going to heaven in our modern day that did nothing but protect a corporation that made money off of the people's free labor and off of everything off the people? It makes no sense.
The teaching's supposed to be that if you start the count, it was once the Holy Spirit was poured out, which was supposed to be at Pentecost, and there were only 120 people at that point in time. And then in some of the subsequent scriptures, there's like, I think 3,000 souls and then 5,000 souls added. And the witness teaching is that there were not a whole lot of people once Christendom got started. So you didn't, supposedly there was just this small amount in the first century and just few through the centuries that came between then in the meantime. And their teaching was that it finally finished in 1935. And now they teach that perhaps it never finished in 1935.
And Zachary, that's my question to you. What is their scriptural basis for saying these things? I mean,
for saying 1935, you mean?
Well,
or
1975, 1995, and then not that many back in the early Christian days. What's their scriptural rationale?
Oh, the scriptural basis for not many back in the first century is that when the Holy Spirit was poured out and the tongues as flame, I can't say it in English, flamme de feu, flames of tongues. Okay, there it is. Tongues of fire. Tongues of fire. There were only 120 gathered together in that upper room. That was the beginning of the anointing, and there were only 120. So they use when it said on that day 3,000 souls were added. That's another scripture they use. And then when they say 5,000 souls were added, that's another scripture they use. In 1935, when they say it's been finished, I don't know that there is an actual scripture that they really use, but that's around the time when the guy said, the speaker at that convention, was it possibly Cedar Point, Ohio, when he said, who wants to live on the earth, and who wants to this, and who wants to that, stand up. And then he said, behold the great multitude. So that 1935 thing, I don't know that they ever really had a strong scriptural reference for that. And in 2007, when they went so far as to say perhaps the number was never filled, I don't know that they had a scriptural reference for that. I think that the reference there was only that here, this group was supposed to be dying out, dwindling, and Armageddon be here. Instead of that, they were appointing new people to the governing body. And in their teaching, the governing body is made up only of anointed people. So they were starting to have these new people on the governing body who weren't old enough. They were too young.
It was their own selfish reasoning. It has no scripture.
Yeah, they're trying to fit it. They're trying to fit it into what was happening, the real deal. I don't think they had a scripture for that.
Very insightful. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, they totally dismissed that at the Lord's evening meal with Jesus. He said anyone that was serving him, would keep doing that in remembrance of him. So that applied to anybody who was a Christian. That they, as long as they did that of eating the bread and drinking the wine, that was accepting him. And so it's a rejection of Jesus at the Kingdom Hall when people just keep passing the emblems and nobody partakes.
Yeah. Yep.
I was thinking too, Jesus said to the thief on the cross next to him, "Today you will be with me in paradise." He was a thief. I mean, was he really a faithful and discreet slave? I mean, but yet he had a hope. So why doesn't really make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Plus, it says who is really the faithful and discreet slave posed as a question, and the governing body that's us, and you just got to take our word for it.
Yeah, they're
infallible. Good point, Susan.
And inspired.
Take our word for
really
it.
Good point.
Scriptural is take our word for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going over the baptism questions, and the brother asked it was that first organization book, and I remember the brother asked the question. He asked me, "Who's the faithful and discreet slave?" And my answer was, those are the brothers at Bethel. The brothers at Bethel. Some of those brothers up there. And he explained to me, no, the faithful and discreet slave are the anointed on earth at any given time. And then he said something about the brothers at Bethel, and he said, I can't remember how many there are. And I guess he was describing to me the governing body. So around 2005, I was conducting a Bible study. It was a couple.
Hey, Zach, before you tell the rest of your story, I just want to ask a question. Did he baptize you? Or allow you to get baptized through those questions? Or did he deny you?
Oh, I got baptized. Oh, no. I got baptized.
I had a different answer than you. You had a better answer than I did. But my question was, or my answer to that question was, I have no idea. And he's like, well, if you don't know, any idea what the governing body are, you can't get baptized. And I got rejected, and I had to try again. So anyways, continue with your story. I was just really curious on, because you never know how these brothers do it. Everyone does it differently. But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna head out, guys. I'm getting tired.
Hey, Aaron, thank you so much for coming on, man. And I know that Grace is on. Grace is on here too, but thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate you coming on, bro. Always good. Don't be a stranger. Come back, man.
All right, you know it. I will. Take care, everybody.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming in, man.
Good night, Aaron. Good night.
Good night, Aaron.
Hi, Grace.
Hi. I was just thinking about can you hear me or?
Yeah, we can all hear you.
Yes.
I was thinking I wanted to tell you, Zachary, to me, I feel, because I'm very sensitive in tone and things, and I feel you have a healing power in your voice. It's very soothing to me.
Well, thank you. as I would say, from your lips to God's ears. Thank you.
Hey, yeah, I agree. You know what? Like, Zach could be like, "You're listening to the Quiet Storm," but if he did it with his voice, you know, like all like nice and smooth. The Quiet Storm is like a R&B station up here in Nashville where like they play all chill music at 12 o'clock. That's not the name of the station, but that's what they play at like, midnight and on. But yeah. You could have had a career in broadcasting, Zach.
When I was at Bethel, and I was in Sloan's grocery store, which was next door to the boxer, a woman asked me a question, and I answered her, and she said, "You're in broadcasting, aren't you?" I said no. But that question about did I get baptized? They're supposed to, if you can't answer a question, they're supposed to explain it to you. They're supposed to teach it to you, because nowhere would you figure out that the faithful and discreet slave is the anointed on earth. Somebody has to tell you that, because the Bible never indicates that that's what the faithful and discreet slave is. Now, around 2005, 2006, I had a Bible study with a couple, and they got baptized. But I remember knowing that they were going to be answering the questions, of course, sooner than I thought they should, because I think it's a real serious thing. If something, you're getting involved in something that once you get involved in it, it's hard to get out of it. So I didn't want this couple getting involved sooner than they should, sooner than they knew what was going on. And I remember going over that thing with them about the faithful and discreet slave. Who's the faithful and discreet slave? And I explained it to them just so they would understand it. And the brother said to me, or the husband, it was a couple, the husband said to me, "But that's not what it says." The answer to him was, I know. I said the same thing when I got baptized. I didn't get it until the brother told me. And I explained, they are the faithful and discreet slave is the anointed on earth at any given time. And he said, "But that's not what it's."
I was just going to add to what you were saying, that another thing they really got wrong about that is it says food at the proper time. It doesn't say spiritual food. Where did the spiritual food come from? How did we all end up saying spiritual food at the proper? We're misquoting the Bible. It doesn't say spiritual food. It says food. I don't know what it means. I'm not claiming to be a know-it-all, but it doesn't, like, you're adding spiritual. That's not in there.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm having all kinds of
because
stuff.
that's how they conned us. I hear, "What'd you do?" "Oh, Zach's on the run."
Hey, simply true.
Pretty exciting area.
Eric.
Yes, ma'am.
There's somebody in the chat called Simply Truth, and they said they'll come on if you have time.
Yeah, I'll be here for a little bit. Yep. It's only 11 my time, so that's 12 Rick's time. I think Rick usually likes it around 1 or 2, the latest. If I got that right. But yeah, look forward. Is Pixie still there?
No, she must be gone.
I think that's a negative.
Earlier, she said, "Yeah, well, it's 2 a.m." And just now, I looked at my 12:16.
Oh, what time zone is she in? 2 a.m. That must be.
She's in. I think she's in time.
I don't think it's 2 a.m. anywhere in the U.S., is it? No, it's not. It's midnight on the Eastern time.
Right.
Must have misheard her.
She's checking to see if I was paying attention.
That's funny. Well, anyways, sorry it's getting quiet, Bill.
Can I ask
that,
a
man?
question?
What's that?
I would like to know what you guys are doing about the Facebook postings about the Jehovah's Witnesses when they show their Kingdom Hall and 4 or 5 people there, or the people that are in the carts in the middle of a downtown Los Angeles, New York, Buffalo, wherever. What are you guys doing about that? Are you guys starting something to try to shut that down?
I'm not on Facebook. I know nothing of it. Of what you're talking about. I don't do much on Facebook. I don't do anything on Facebook.
I haven't
Debbie
seen
knows
anything
that.
on Facebook either. I'm on Facebook a lot, and I haven't seen anything that
She's
what
on
you're talking
Facebook all the
about.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, they just have pop-up ads where they'll have 2 or 3 people standing in front of a cart or having a jw.org sign there. And it goes right on Facebook, and they have to have a contract with the Facebook to pop up these ads all over the place.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Me neither. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What is it regarding on Facebook? Like, I don't know what it is at all. Yeah, but is there a way for us to look it up and see what you're talking about? Oh yeah.
Could David send that to Rick? Could he send that Facebook to Rick and let him see that, if that's the case?
Yeah, because Rick always gets that, right? jwworldnews@gmail.com.
Right. If you could do that and send him a screenshot of that, that'd be nice, because he could investigate.
They just have, if you have a Facebook page, and they'll have members throughout the United States, the Philippines, France, Italy, Germany, and different places, and they'll have a screenshot of the background of a Kingdom Hall or jw.org up in the left-hand corner, or it's been going on for like the last 6 months, and every time I get on Facebook to go and look at something, their ads pop up everywhere.
Are you talking
And
about
these are Jehovah's Witnesses?
jw.org ads?
Yeah, these are Jehovah's Witnesses posting this, not ex-JWs. This is like in promotion of jw.org or Jehovah's Witnesses as a whole. Is that correct?
It's a promotion of jw.org to get out about what they're
I don't
doing.
go on jw.org, so they don't have my contact information.
You know what? Yeah, I actually I go on Quora all the time, which is questions or answers, this platform, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I downloaded the app by like butt dialing it, and it started throwing, like, I ignored it, and it started throwing Jehovah's Witness things at me, and I saw what was going on here, and I got extremely upset because Jehovah's Witnesses are trolling the entire world by like putting stories out there that are just complete crap. And so I started fighting back and asking questions, and they hate me. Everybody knows me now, Ricky Bobby, because that's my name on YouTube and Google account, I should say. and it's shared with my Google account, and all the witnesses hate me on there because I challenge them all the time, and I'll say very harsh things, but it's the harsh truth. Like Jehovah's Witnesses with the 2-witness rule protect child molesters, and they freak out on me. So if that's what you're getting at, that's where my activism is, and I certainly would like to know. I'm not on Facebook at all, but if it's to the cause, I would get on there and. I do have an account, but I don't use it, and it's blank. And I would go on there just to fight the truth, to answer your question, if that's what they're doing, because it's from my personal experience, it's absolutely disgusting what these people are doing. There's one person in particular. Her name is Arletta Sloan. She says that we don't shun people. We just don't talk about spiritual matters. That flies up my butt. I get really pissed off at that because I am hardcore shunned from my family. We can't talk at all, never mind spiritual matters. And I don't like outright liars, you know? So if that's the tone of what's going on, I am definitely on board to do something about it.
And
I don't think that pops up unless you are on jw.org and they get your contact.
Go ahead, Susan.
I'd like to add, please, thank you. I'd like to add, if David could please send that to Rick. He's so busy. He doesn't have time to do a lot of extra trolling. So if you would just be kind enough to send him on JW his account at JW, what is it? I forgot now.
JW World News at gmail.com.
JW World News at gmail.com.
At gmail.com, yes. David, if you would be kind enough to do that, or Eric, if you find it, if you could send that to Rick, he'd appreciate that, because that's something he should
no problem.
investigate a little bit. But he doesn't have a lot of time.
I think every little bit helps. You know what's amazing is I met this if you can call it a pen pal, an internet pen pal, if you will. His name is Chris Mogg, and I don't know him, but him and I have been chatting through the Quora app, and I'd love to ask him if I could bring him on the show, or if he wants to come on the show. But he is an ex elder pioneer, and I have not watched his video yet. I'm about to, and he posted it on Quora. And it said why I left the Jehovah's Witnesses. But he's been backing me up every time I am at war with these people. And it's not malicious. It's just that the truth should be the truth. And if people are going to go on there telling lies when we're all hurting and ignoring our pain, I think that's a part of our activism. You know, it's to do the honorable right thing. And I try to do. I can't do what Rick does with protests. We all have our talents and skills or what we can do, but that's one of the things I try to do. And I certainly would look into what's on Facebook. Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
Can you tell me again how we can find that? If he's still there? Maybe not. Well, anyways. Well, there you have it, everybody. We all do our little bit of activism. JP, he's sent us stuff about the conventions and spied for us. We got CIA Man, and I won't even give his location away. But he's someone dear to our community. And if you're listening, buddy, I love you. But I appreciate the PMOs that give us material and let us know, because we all have family that we've lost and that Watchtowers hijacked from us. And it's not that we want people to burn. It's just we want this organization so that we can have the people that we love have their free minds back. Or, well, they don't have free minds. To have a free mind again.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
Eric, it's Mark.
Yeah, I'm listening.
How you doing?
Hey, Mark.
Hey. Yeah, I'm back. How you doing? I'm back. I'm back.
Chicago.
As I promised. Yes, I'm from Chicago. Yeah, is Sue still there? Is Sue still on the line by good chance at all?
I am.
Who?
I am.
Oh, yep.
Sue, it's Mark Taft. Do
Me,
you
Eric.
remember me by good chance at all or not?
Do I? Of course I do.
You sure?
I've known you since you were 12 years old, my dear.
Well, I wasn't sure. I don't know.
My dear.
I talked to you for 8.5 years. Did you know that?
Pardon?
I haven't talked to you for 8.5 years.
Honey, if you knew how sick I've been, you would know why.
Well, I had a pretty good idea. I wasn't 100% sure, but I had a pretty good idea.
Oh,
Sue.
gosh, no,
So
it's not
please
been
forgive me, Sue. Okay, I understand. Please, just have an understanding. I
Most
know a
people
good share
don't
of it.
remember that I had a life before in Chicago.
I remember.
47 years, for 40 years, so.
Well, I remember that. I remember that very well, Sue. I remember it well in every way, 100%. I know you've been sick. I know you've been struggling. I was pretty well aware of a lot of it. But Rick has kept me up with quite a lot of it, and for that, I'm very, very sorry. But please, I understand, and please don't take me wrong. Please don't take me wrong. I don't think I knew 100% of it, but I knew a lot of it. So please don't take me wrong, Sue. Please don't take me wrong. I'm not upset. We haven't talked in 8.5 years. I know you've been sick, but it's great that I was able to catch you tonight because there's a few things I wanted to specifically tell you, if that's okay with you.
It's fine. Keep me informed, sir.
It's great. It's great to talk to you again, Sue. It really is. 8.5 years, that's a long time. And I don't mean to be, kind of, Mr. Funny Guy, but, I wasn't sure. In 8.5 years, I was still, hoping you did remember me. But then again, I just wasn't sure. So please don't take me wrong. But I'm glad you remember me.
Well, what do you have that's news for the Naperville area?
I'm glad you remember me. You're not mad at me, are you?
Are you kidding? Of course not.
Okay, that's good to hear. I'm glad you're not mad at me. But yeah, I want to give you an update. There's quite a bit of news that's happened in the last few years. So there was the good share of Jehovah's Witnesses that you knew here in good old Naperville, that you may remember, who had passed away in the last 2 years. 2 years, keep in mind. And you remember Darlene Garber and Jim Jackson?
Yeah.
They died. They died 2 years ago. Did you hear about it?
No. Did they die in a car? What, together or separate?
No. Darlene died a year. I take that back. My mistake. No, Darlene died a year earlier of cancer or something. And then Jim went to the Philippines to meet some girl in the Philippines, got married to her. And then it was like 2 weeks, maybe a little more later, he died out in the Philippines. I don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah.
That was sad.
Stupid thing to do. Okay.
Very sad. It was stupid. Okay, so he died. Bill Sirocco.
He lived with us for a while.
Jim Jackson?
Yeah, with his family.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't know that. Well, Craig, Darlene's son, Carver, died in 2004, 20 years ago. That was sad.
What did he die of?
It was a work-related accident. It was a work-related accident. He fell and he died. He got killed. That was sad. So yeah, Craig died in 2004. But to keep you updated, you remember Bill Sirocco?
Yeah.
Yeah, he died.
I remember everybody.
Yeah, he died about 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
Very sad. You remember Jerry Stone? He was around 80. You remember Jerry Stone King?
Yeah.
Stone King died 6 weeks ago also.
Did he kill himself?
No, he had a stroke, and so he was having issues, and it just one day I think it was some sort of heart trouble he had. He died right on his own couch.
Wow.
Very sad. Yes, Jerry Stone King also passed away. Yeah.
How's Roxanne doing?
I'm sorry?
How's Roxanne doing?
Roxanne?
His wife. Roxanne is
I don't
white.
know. I don't know anything about her. I don't know anything about her. I never knew her. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you that. Okay. Anyway, moving along. You remember Ralph Dunlap? Ralph Dunlap.
You told me about him.
Oh, you did hear about Ralph Dunlap?
Yeah, I heard you tell Rick, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Ralph Dunlap died about 15 months ago, which is really sad. About 15 months ago, he died. He had diabetes. He died in the nursing home. He had legs amputated he had died of diabetes. He had a really miserable life for, I'd say, the last 15 years of his life. That was really sad for Ralph. So very, very sad indeed. And then his son was my friend. Keep in mind, he was my friend, not anymore. It was more of a so-called friend. But his son Darren also passed away in November. So Darren died 6 months ago. Darren died exactly 6 months ago. He died also of diabetes and congestive heart failure. So Darren's also now passed away. Yep, Darren passed away also. He's gone. He passed away. He's gone. Very sad, but yeah, he passed away, and I was very hurt by it. But then again, me and him were not friends at all anymore. We hadn't been friends for many years. But I hurt too, even though we weren't friends anymore. What can I say?
How's your mom? How's your mom with her cancer?
Okay, she has cancer. Getting older, she's slowing down quite a lot, and it's harder for her to get around as much now. And so that's very sad on her behalf. So I don't know.
How old is your mom now? How old is she?
79. She may be on her way out. She may be on her way out. I don't know. But it doesn't look too good for her. But you know, something I can do. And, oh, one other thing. Remember Mike Jackson, Jim Jackson's son?
Yeah.
Mike Jackson. Okay. He's had multiple sclerosis for 20 years. He's now in really bad shape. It doesn't hurt him at all. He may not have that much time left. It's very sad. He can't even leave his house now. He can't even dare leave his house. His multiple sclerosis is doing him in. He's had the MS for 20 years, and he may be in his very last. I don't know, but yeah, he's in very bad shape with the multiple sclerosis. I don't know. It's very sad. So it's just showing very clearly to me, and I will never believe different, that the Jehovah's Witnesses are really, it's their tickets to an early death. Like Rick said, yes, it is their ticket and their invitation to their funeral when they join the Jehovah's Witnesses. I do agree. It's also their ticket to long-term sickness and suffering and all that. And it's also their ticket and their invitation to jail. And it's also their ticket and invitation to being homeless. And you have to agree with me, but that's the honest truth. You know what I'm saying?
This is some very sad, really. I mean, we all go old and get avoid that. None of us are going to live forever. That's that.
Yeah, but look, I see that. Yep.
What makes me sad is Ralph Dunlap he died a forgotten man, an elder, and that's really sad.
He was?
What?
I knew Ralph Dunlap was an elder.
Yeah, he was.
That no, I never knew that at all.
I know that.
Not Ralph. Well, he wasn't when he lived in our area. I remember of.
Yeah, he was an elder.
Well, he never told me something about it. So I don't know. So
I remember when he worked at school, when he was recruiting people.
Oh yeah, he was doing that. He was an elder.
But he was an elder when he was doing that.
Maybe when he moved to Minnesota, I didn't know nothing about it. He did in Chicago. I knew nothing about it. He never told me. Darren never told me. I knew nothing about it. So I'm sorry. And I knew that both were
away from Naperville.
Right, Minnesota.
Anymore.
Okay, that may be true. I don't know the whole story. So if they didn't tell me, I didn't know. There's not much I could do. No, I didn't know anything about it. Ralph was a pretty decent guy, but him and Darren threw their lives away with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and it costed them. So what am I going to do, right? They obviously weren't my actual friends. Now were they? They weren't my actual friends. Witnesses are not your friends. They're not your friends. They're not your family. They never were, and they never will be. They are just not your friends. I hope everybody gets that.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't want to take up too much more time because we're probably boring everybody else.
Okay, well, no, that's fine. But it was great talking to you.
Is there somebody who has a lot of feedback on their phone or somebody calling in?
Thank you, Sue.
Okay.
God bless you, Sue. God bless you. Bye-bye.
God bless you too, honey.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, Eric, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take too much time there, but I hadn't talked to her in many years, so I was hoping I could get to say hello to her. Yes.
Oh no, you don't have to be sorry. Of course, that's awesome, man. It's good to catch up. I think that's what makes our Rick's program so great, is people get to reconnect.
Yes,
and people get to meet reconnect and connect.
Yeah, you're doing an excellent job, Eric. Thank you very much, sir. You're doing great.
Thanks, man.
I gotta admit, you at least have a much better show than a lot of the people from the past. You do one, I'd say, a job 50 times more better than any of them. And thank you for that.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, man. That's cool. Thank you.
No
I appreciate it. I'm not great with compliments. I never have them, but I do appreciate it. I guess it's a way for me to just stay humble.
I appreciate your great input and everything. I had some questions for you. Is that possible right now?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, Eric. I want to ask you. Here's an issue. Now, I don't know if you've ever run into in the past with your family or with your parents or anything like that, or with the Jehovah's Witnesses. You maybe have. I don't know. It's a very common issue and problem with the Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't. Maybe you did when you were in the Jehovah's Witnesses. But one thing I've noticed about them, here's a big problem. It makes me so very, very angry. And to the extreme it does. And this has been a problem not only just with my family and with my mother, but also with the Jehovah's Witnesses all these years, okay? Because I can't seem to win with any of them, including my mother, in this issue. You see, the problem is, when I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I'm done with them, because I was tired of their bullshit, okay? The problem is, so ever since that time, since I was not prepared for the real world, like I thought it was, I was not prepared for the real world. I'd say maybe to an extent or degree that was my fault, but thanks to the Jehovah's Witnesses, I blame them even more. They didn't allow me to prepare and be ready for the real world, like I should have been when I was becoming an adult. That's just the truth, okay? You can agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. But the truth is, Eric, that the problem is, that they are so damn controlling. You leave and you want to live your life, and you have your life, but no, they still being controlling of you no matter what, especially if you live with them, or if you don't live with them, either way. But if you do live with them, they're really going to nail your ass right to the wall. They are. The problem is that, when I run into issues, with other people, it could be with jobs, it could be with other people, other things, or other so-called fake friends or whatever, and I'm no longer JW, and then, let's say some Jehovah's Witnesses, they hear about it, or my mom hears about it, or I tell her, or my brother, or my stepfather, or whoever, they hear about it. So they're all the Jehovah's Witnesses. One thing, and this really angers me, I'm also very offended, very hurt, very, very insulted by this. What they would do is, when I, had issues or something happened, they would blame me, it really wasn't my fault at all. It wasn't my fault at all, or most of it. I repeat, most of it was not my fault. And they would blame me, it's all my fault, it's all my fault. You did it to yourself, you bring it on yourself, you brought it on yourself. No, it's all your fault, it's all your fault, it's all your fault. They would do everything they could to find fault with me, no matter what, whether most of it was not my fault, or all of it, all of it, none of it was my fault. They would still find, blame no matter what. And then, when I tell them the truth, they're called a liar when I'm not one. Okay? I didn't lie. I didn't give them half twisted or mixed replies or any kind of lies. I told them the truth. No, they don't want to believe me. They call me a liar when I'm not. Then they give me this big bullshit excuse, scapegoat that, it's your perception. It's your perception, the way you see it, perception, the way you perceive or are perceiving it. Okay, that's all. The way you perceive it. It's not true. It's not true at all, or true. And like I said, they would say, it's all my fault. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. They would never give up and give in on that. Like, never. No matter what. They'd love to start a fight. They want to fight. And so they would do that, and that just made me very, very angry, very, very furious. I was on the edge with them. And I was also, like I said, very offended and very insulted and very hurt by that, because I'm telling the truth, and they're not, and they're always, they want me to feel that guilt. I don't know, but they wanted me to just they tell me, live with it, just live with it, live with it, deal with it, suck it up, own it, just own it, as they tell me, just own it, and that's that. I would not want to, but they said, no, just own it. They make it clear because they want to give me the bullshit. So just own it. This has always been a major problem. Come this day, I'm still very angry about it with both my family and with the Jehovah's Witnesses, because that's what they've done ever since they've been out. Like, it's a way of them still trying to be very controlling of me in some way or another. Now, would you have any advice you could give me or any answers you could give me in regards to this by good chance, Eric, of why this is a real major issue with Jehovah's?
I don't know if I'm the person qualified for it, being that I'm so estranged from my family. Like, I made bad decisions when I became awake, because my wife and I didn't realize we were with bad company, that we had to be careful what we said when we started questioning things.
I can see that.
And we just that got us in huge trouble. So I haven't been good at this. As far as control, my mother was a complete control freak, and
right.
She would always say, like, Eric, you're wicked smart, because we're all from Rhode Island, and we don't pronounce our R's. I don't have it as much for some reason. I'm not sure why. I guess I'm a social chameleon, and I don't really pick up accents too much, but I do pick up catchphrases and things. But
okay, well, sir,
anyways, control freaks everywhere. She used to say things like, hey, if you, like when I was a teenager, if you keep it up, I'm going to call Tom Tiplady. He was the presiding overseer, or the Kobe would be now. But that was the 90s. Right. And finally, I'm like, go ahead and call him. I got some things to say to him. And she's like, no, never mind. And like rolled her eyes and like got like uncomfortable, cleared her throat. It was just because like that's what our parents and what the elders and all of these friggin' people in the organization that we like, if we weren't exactly like them, they were uncomfortable with our freeness, any little bit that we had. And that's why I hate control. It reminds me of the Linkin Park song when he's like, oh, if I talk like a Rhode Islander, Linkin Pack. But it reminds me of the Linkin Pack song that where he says, I want to be more like me and be less like you. Always trying to control, always controlling me, telling me what to do and say. That's what we grew up with. We couldn't say oh geesh, or because geesh was short or euphemism for Jesus. It was like there was always something. You can't say God bless you if someone sneezes, or God bless you at all. We were controlled how we talked, who we talked to. We were controlled on our emotions, how to feel. We were controlled how to think. We were controlled, what to wear. We were controlled what words we could and couldn't use, like swearing. Where weren't we controlled?
Exactly.
You can't smoke, can't do this, can't do that. I mean, there's more. It's almost like that song. What does it say? Signs. Can't you see the signs blocking up my scenery? Losing my mind. That's Watchtower with the rules.
Exactly. I totally agree. Yeah, that's a well-known popular song by Tesla, right? But I agree. That relates to them quite a lot, no doubt. It very much relates to them, and they are very controlling. My mother was a real control freak too. I mean, she was also a real control freak too. And as long as she had me scared and intimidated, like she's gonna take action against me and do this and do that if I do this, or I do that, or say this or say that, or I go about my own ways, my own behavior, my own attitude and actions. She would do the same thing to me too. And I would sometimes beg her, oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that. See, that right there, she's like, she wins. She wins when I do that. She's like, now she has pure 100% total control and total power. Okay, she's got total power, total control. Yep, she's the one in charge now.
My only advice to you could be drown her with love. But if your mom's a narcissist, then there's no amount of love you can give to a narcissist. They'll always just keep taking from you. Because my mother's a narcissist, and there's nothing I can do to. I can't win her over with my actions, with my love, with anything. I've put my mother in her place a couple times where she acknowledged that I was intelligent, how I came about, I did a physical like demonstration with my mom to where she's like, okay, I get what you're saying. Like, but it's almost like I had to treat her like she was a child to get her to like meet me halfway, you know? And it's like, you're the older one. I don't know. When my mom says, Eric, you're wicked smart, it's not that I'm wicked smart. It's just that you're low IQ and I'm average. That's how I see it. Like and I'm a critical thinking person. So it's not like I'm not wicked smart. I'm just smarter than you. Because I think outside the box. That's intelligence. That's wisdom. If you just buy into everything that you're told into this system that we live in, I'm not trying to use JW lingo, but in this world that we live in, if you just buy into everything, you're going to get in trouble. You know, you got to critically think for yourself for everything, every decision you make.
Exactly. It's got to be free thinking, my friend. It's got to be definitely free thinking. Yes. We're got to be free thinkers and free thinkers only. When God gives us that right, God gives us that actual, total, 100% right. He gives that to us. So we could be free thinkers and do free thinking and free thinking for ourselves. You know, free thinking is better, but, you know, having church, you know, all these false religions and these cults control you like that? No, bullshit. No, absolutely not. They do all the thinking for you? No, bullshit. No way. I'm not going to have some false religion church and some actual cult, you know, do all the thinking for me. You know, that's a crock of shit. We got to do it for ourselves. You know, if they're treating us like damn robots and, you know, zombies, right? And you know, puppets, like total puppets, which they are with their people, that doesn't make any sense. And to me, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Mark.
Hey, Mark. Actually, I want to interrupt 1 second real quick because there's a question on here, and it's really hit home to me because of the name of it. Okay, so Kuberlin Farms, I'm reading that correctly, and that's my last name, Kubler. Kuberlin Farms says, do you think, and I'm asking this to everyone listening, I think that was Pixie that came in. So this is to everyone that's online right now. Do you think that maybe it was a less controlling, and maybe that as kids we constantly push boundaries, and as a parent it's their job to push you in the right direction? The floor is yours.
Yeah, but they don't.
And I have my own opinion.
They have a totalitarian religion, and they've applied it in their parenting skills. And I just wanted to say to Mark, here's a script for you, Mark.
First of all, what's your name? What's your name?
This is Pixie. This is Pixie, Mark.
Years.
We've talked here and there somewhat, but
I got a script for you.
What do you want to tell me? What do you want to tell me?
Well, when you're dealing with a narcissistic parent, it's the saddest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Because you want their approval and love, and you may or may not get it.
That's
and
right.
They don't want to be abandoned by you. Inside, they're hollow. They didn't grow up properly. They can't parent you properly. They might love you, and you might love them, but they don't know how to put it in action. You've matured. You've left home. You're going to be great. You're going to do fine. You're always going to have a little bit of a need for other people to love you, but burn approval for yourself and say to the narcissist this one-liner: do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy?
There you go. That makes sense.
And I've cried over it, and I've experienced it, and a lot of the born-ins have. And that's the best advice I have for you, and to live your life the best way you can, and to realize it's going to be a hole in your soul, but it's not as big as the hole in the narcissist's soul.
I must agree, Pixie. I must agree, because I want to tell you, Pixie, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but the truth is, it was a rough life for me growing up as a child and as a kid, or as a teenager, as an adult, you name it. Because thanks to the stupid Jehovah's Witnesses, especially the Jehovah's Witnesses. Because my mother.
I hear your anger, but
could I finish? Hold on.
Yeah.
I just want to say, my mother was a.
Hold on 1 second, because I'm really torn up with this. I'm going to make a quick announcement. You can finish what you're saying. Kuberlin Farms, who are you? Because you share my name. That's not by coincidence. So I'm just curious, are you my brother or Andrew, or are you a family member of mine? How the heck do you have a name with I don't see that very often, that name. Anyways, go ahead, Mark, sorry.
Okay. All right, thank you, Eric. Thank you very much, Eric. Okay, so Pixie, what I was explaining to you, I get what you're saying. Thank you for sharing that, and I agree with you 100%. What I was going to say, though, that to make it very clear to you, the hard life growing up is that I dealt with a lot of these ruthless, cruel, evil people, both who are Jehovah's Witnesses and who are not Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay.
So the bottom line There's no need to yell at me.
Hold on. The bottom line is that my mother was a narcissist in a lot of ways. She was a narcissist in
Mine
a lot of
too.
ways. Okay. Well, there you go. She was a narcissist. She was a sociopath. Now, and then I had a father who was an alcoholic, full-blown alcoholic. He was
I feel your pain. I hear you.
Hold on. He was a total sociopath. He was a narcissist, big-time narcissist. Oh, was he ever. He was a monster.
I hear you.
He was a freaking monster. And he was a big-time, just total narcissist in almost every way. And he was a big-time sociopath in every way. Okay, then he dies. He's gone. And then my mom remarries to another guy who's maybe not an alcoholic, but he is a total full-blown 100% as well as 200% full-blown narcissist also. He was a big-time narcissist. He was a freaking narcissist. He was a narcissist in every way also. So he was a narcissist. He was a sociopath in a lot of ways too, but no doubt 100% pure narcissist in every way you could think of he was. And his name was Jerry. Maybe I told you about him before, but he was a total, just my worst nightmare, just like my father was. He was a total.
I hear you, trauma, and I hear that little Mark had a lot of pain.
Total narcissist, and he hurt me in almost every way, just like my father did. Except my father, passed away and died because of his alcoholism when I was 19. I just turned 19, like a month or so ago, and then my father, out of the clear blue, died. And I didn't feel all that sad. I kind of did at first, but for the most part, I didn't feel all that sad or as sorry because my father was a freaking monster. Oh, was he ever?
It's okay to be sad for yourself.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Debbie. My dyslexia.
Okay.
But the bottom line is, that's how I suffered with the Jehovah's Witnesses. That's exactly how I suffered with the Jehovah's Witnesses in every way, 100%. I'm sorry to complain. I'm just telling you the actual truth.
I hear your pain.
I told this story.
I'm mirroring your pain. I've been there. I'm mirroring your pain. I hear you.
Thank you.
But the only thing is take a breath. Take a breath, and hit a pillow at home and yell. But your outward anger to other people isn't going to solve it, even for yourself.
Oh no. I agree. I agree 100%.
So just breathe and explain, and maybe take up boxing or martial arts. I always find that a little martial arts in the driveway is helpful.
Combat fighting, martial arts, everything. I agree. That would be really, really good. I totally agree. But also fitness, working out.
And the other thing
I play Call of Duty, and when I play zombie mode, when I'm shooting the zombies, I think of the governing body.
There you go.
That's my stress relief.
Mark.
Here comes Mark Sanderson.
I'm learning it. I'm only learning to use a kind tone to myself in the 6th decade of my life. I have just learned it.
That's a good thing, Miss.
Because we had so much criticism, and some of the people were fragile borderlines that we had to care for, and some were narcissists, and some were sociopath critics, and we were expected to be the adult when we were the baby.
That's
be kind with a kind tone to yourself, and the anger is warranted, and to use a warrior mode in a sport, but to learn to be kind to you.
I would agree, Pixie, 100%.
And it's taken me 60 years to learn the last one.
Oh, of course. I understand, Pixie. It's very hard.
No, but it shouldn't have. I should have known that at 25.
Well, that may be very true.
At 17.
Yeah, that may
was
be
the
very
scholarship at 25.
I hear you. We're not alone in this, and especially for the born-ins. So I'm going to go lay down and listen to the soap opera, but I had to get up and help you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Pixie.
Thank you.
And I think it's, the thing with me, unless they're born-ins, I don't relate to them. I can't relate to the converts. I never could. So I had to get up for another
I can't either. I can't either, but I can still relate to them because they still bought into something that we both bought into the same thing. But the born-ins have way more of a reason. You're going to be Satan if you don't join. You know what? I have a note here that I was going to say. It's join us or die from our families, basically.
Sure.
If you don't join us, then we don't my parents treat me as I'm dead. So I mean, and Desiree's as well. So I mean, you can't win with these people. They don't give us freedoms to choose, or they don't let us, decide if we want to join the Jehovah's Witnesses or not. It's you join us or we're not. We're going to have a strange relationship.
Yeah, and
you must think like me.
Rebellion. I was a beautiful, nice child with excellent grades, and they threatened that they were going to put me in a reform school or something. For what?
Yeah, they're idiots.
Straight A, beautiful, slender, gorgeous daughter that was excellent and everything.
Yeah, they're dirtbags.
They should have patted me and said, my daughter's really great, but you're not supposed to brag on your kids if you're a witness.
Exactly.
My uncle, who was a geologist, he's gone now too, but he came to see me, and at 50, I finally sat down and had a chat. He said, why didn't your parents brag on you? He bragged on his kids. He's a Methodist, God bless him. He bragged on his kids if they learned to do a fraction in 3rd grade.
That's good. That's real good.
We thought it was a little much, but says, why didn't anybody ever brag on you? So we're walking around with this low confidence when we should be confident.
Exactly. Well, they put you down about everything. They put you down about every damn thing.
I've been there. They peck you like being pecked with from baby ducks. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's a nightmare, Pixie. I'm with you 100%. It's a total nightmare. They always are putting you down. They don't care. They put you down and put you down, put you down. They love it. They just love it. They love to put you down no matter what. They're always putting you down. And I would tell them, to stop doing it, but they just kept right on going.
I hear you. I had that dynamic too. There's a book. There's a paperback, if you can find it, called Total Self-Confidence. I don't know if it's still in print. It was a $5 paperback.
Okay.
And it was called Total Self-Confidence, and the other one was by a woman in the 80s called Go For It.
Oh, very good. Very good.
And those 2 books, they were cheesy self-help books, but of all the books I've read, those helped me in business more than anything else.
Well, that's great. That's great. Very good.
Hey, Pixie.
That's good to hear. Good job, Pixie. Good job. Thanks for your help, Pixie.
Thank you. I'm going to go lay down now because last Saturday I stayed up till 5 flirting with Gilbert.
Okay.
Yeah, you did. You guys were up so late that I think I took a nap or did something, I don't know, and then came back and then came back on the show to listen. You guys were still talking. I'm like, oh dang.
Bill, the bill in Congress.
Oh, the bill! Wow.
Yeah. It won't show up until 2 years from now.
Okay, well, leave me a message on my machine as to the House bill number so I can read it online.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Good chatting with you, David. I'm going to go to bed now because I can't stay up every Saturday and do this.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I'll give you a call in a couple of days. I'll give you a call in a couple of days.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye.
Have a good night, Pixie.
Thanks for your help, Pixie.
And have a good night, Bill.
Yeah, don't feel bad about what's going on with your families and everything. I'm not a witness, and I've already got picked on by my wife and their whole side of the family for 35 years. And I've stayed out of the witness. I've never been a witness. Went to the Kingdom Hall a couple of times in the beginning and told them that this is all just baloney right in front of the whole congregation. And my father-in-law says, you need to sit down and listen. I looked at him and I said, remember what you did, and remember what that Catholic guy said to you, that you needed to give them more money in the Catholic religion, and then you came to the Jehovah's Witnesses. This is exactly what they're doing here, but on a bigger scale, and you're just blind as what you were when you had that happen to you. And then all the kids hated my guts. His sons hated my guts. The one son was really bad all the time. He always threatened me. I helped him out every once in a while to put things together at his home and stuff. And then his daughters always bashed me constantly, saying that I was a bad person. I went
because you weren't a witness.
Church. What?
Just because you weren't a Jehovah's Witness?
No, I've never been a Jehovah's Witness.
No, I mean, were they bad to you because you weren't one? Was that the reason why they a Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah. They always put me down.
Oh.
In front of
looking back when I was a Jehovah's Witness, it's a self-righteous attitude that we had, Bill, or you, not we, because you weren't one, but that all of us had. We did. I didn't have it as bad as what it sounds as your kids, but I certainly did look at people like, oh, you're not a witness, But I broke the rules a lot. I didn't disfellowship. I didn't get along with the disfellowshipping arrangement. So I didn't do that. But yeah, your story is very interesting. Please continue.
Yeah, but just like some of the witnesses in our general area, like the one witness got put in jail for they were gonna go, and this child went and did a bomb threat at one of the schools in their area. But the mother worked right there in the same school that he made a bomb threat at. And they got him off on all these charges and everything else. And then he was supposed to go around from school to school and talk about what he did and everything. And he got off on it. In 2 years, he just had a 2-year probationary period in our general area. And I was like, well, why didn't this kid get put in jail? And because Quantico Marine Base came down into Virginia, and their task force came down here and emptied out the whole school and went through the whole school looking for a bomb. That was one of the big things in the area. And then other things like I found out from another woman that worked at Walmart, the elders were really bad at this one congregation in the area. And I told my wife to stay away from the people. And then just like one of the elders' wives came to our house and sat, and every Sunday for like eight or 9 weeks, she would come over to the house and she would bring her father and her another person, and they would come over to our house and eat every week for like almost 3 months. Until one day I got fed up with it on a Sunday. I wanted to watch a football game, and all I could hear is Jehovah's Witness stuff. I said, look, you're really nice people. I really don't want to listen to what you have to say. I want to watch a football game. You'll have to
No doubt, brother.
And just like when I went to the Kingdom Hall, and I have 2 boys. They're 30. They're in their 30s. I never let them go to the Jehovah's Witnesses. I went down to Kingdom Hall one day, and I seen my wife there with the oldest boy. He was only like a year and a half old, if that. I marched in Kingdom Hall with a pair of dirty dungarees, a dirty jacket. I was working on a bridge crew, building bridges, and I walked in there, and I said, you? And I looked at her, I looked at her parents, I said, you get my son out of Satan's land, and you get your rear end back to our home. And I don't want my son to be brought back in this hellhole. And I said it just like that. And the four brothers came over to start grabbing me. I said, if you grab me again, I will drop all four of you men on the ground, flat out, straight up. You touch me again, you're all going on the floor. And I said that straight out in front of them all. And my kids never went back to that crap. I went to a Episcopal religion and stayed there with the kids. They're nice, good Christian children. They have nothing to do with the organization. So some of these things that I hear from you guys and everything has happened to you, it's happened to me, but in a different way.
Yeah, reverse.
But I just had the good common sense to listen and look at their literature and read their literature and see what the two different sides they're trying to tell you. Some of the things that they were saying was out and out lies. It was just from reading the scripture and reading what the magazine was trying to put forth in front of you. And then I think it was the second time I looked at a Watchtower, I seen little faces in the dresses or the clothing or back behind clothing in the mountains or in the sun or in the flowers or the plants. You would see these different crossbones and different things that people were doing. And I just noticed this one day, and I brought it to my wife, and she says, I don't see nothing like that. It's like, okay, here's a magnifying glass. And I showed her a magnifying glass, and I drew it all out on their piece of paper, on their magazine, what it was. And her elder girlfriend said, Dave's crazy. And I brought it to her attention, and I said, no, I'm not crazy. And you're bringing subliminal messages in the literature. And I just looked at him, and she says, you don't know what you're talking about. And I told my wife, these people are really messing with your brain. But she's still a witness, and I don't bother with her witness stuff anymore. I just let it go. But I've seen and heard Rick's show in years ago. When I first, I was thinking the witnesses were right at a certain point in our marriage, but turned around and found Randy Waters' book. It was a black book. It was about the Watchtower. I read the whole thing. At the end of the last page, he had his telephone number. I called him. He told me Ringo, Pennsylvania. Ringo, Pennsylvania would be the place I needed to go. So I went there. I went and met Mrs. Setnar and Bill Setnar, and I went from there. They turned me on to other things and other people. And then their one video that came out Setnar's video, I went and I took that and started placing it in all the libraries in my area. I did almost 65 libraries in the state of Virginia. And that really caused a big with witnesses. And then I put 8 points of the Lipton's mind control technique thing from Randy Waters in there right beside the other video. And then I find out 6 or 7 weeks after I did that, my minister's wife said, "Hey, Dave, there's a video in the library. You need to go and look at it. And it's about the Jehovah's Witnesses, the ex-witnesses." She looked at me and I said, "Yeah, I did that because I started a public ministry that way for the people that wanted to come out in our area." And then it took off from there.
Okay.
But people are very, very nasty to you, and they make the witness person to make sure that they are right and you're always wrong. And that's how they talk to you, because that's how they're trained in their own literature. The one book I picked up, and it was their theocratical ministry book. That's how they train these people to do what they really want you to do and think, in the way they write their literature to show you that they're right and everybody else is wrong. And I picked up on all this on my own. So it was just the way they wrote literature, and sometimes they made it really nasty. Sometimes they just did it out of spite. And you could see it just the way that the literature was written. And that's what got me to stay away from the people completely. But when the theocratical book, I looked at that book and I said, this is how they're training my wife to be so nasty to me. It's just like every year, and this has happened since she got baptized. It was every year around Christmas, she would get nasty. And then she would get nasty over the holiday. Then Easter would come. They would jam.
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second and just say hi to Fixing My Faith. I don't know how long ago he said hello to me, but he's somebody that I talked to on his show too. Hi, Vern and Shauna, if you're listening. I got a little carried away from the comments. Don't mean to interrupt you, brother, but yeah. Oh, and Shaq Composer was asking what the topic was tonight, and we were I had played a video, and then it just briefly showed like military and how they control. It was a comedy, and we've been talking about the governing body and how they're pushing away members all on their own. We don't, like I gave an analogy in the beginning of us apostates threw a grenade into Bethel and shut the door, and now they're dealing with all the chaos. Eric, the StreamYard link is not in the chats anymore. You have a guest waiting. Oh, I do. Oh, but it's not on my end. What is it? Shaq Composer trying to get in. I don't know why it's not on there anymore. I'm actually looking for it. That's why I have the camera off. Yeah, I don't see it either. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the link. You can try writing the link down and manually typing it in. I don't know why it's not working. Not too sure of that. I'm not going to bother Desiree with it. It seems like the phone lines are open if you want to call in. Whoever's trying to get in. All right. So I do see the link here. If you scroll up enough, it's under Steen one. Not under his name, but like under that one of his comments. I don't know if it is inactive or not. I just clicked on the link. You all can see it now on the screen. You can't click on it, but it is. It was up there on my end. I don't know if it's up there on the YouTube end. But if you scroll up far enough, yeah, go ahead.
Eric, do you need me to wake Rick up and see what's going on? What should I tell him?
No, I don't think so. If people, because the phone lines are open, right? If people want to call in, they can call in on the phone line. I don't want. He's tired, the poor thing. He does a lot. He does a lot all day. He's a one-man show. It's up to you. But I don't want to bother y'all.
Well, he'd want this to go on, so I'll wake him up. That's not a problem.
No,
but I have to
wake
tell
him
him
up.
what it is.
Please don't wake him up.
Don't wake him up?
We can call in on the phone line. Don't wake Rick up.
Yeah, see, Grace is on. And I know Jerry wanted to call in, and Jerry, if you're listening, you could call in on the phone. But that's what we were talking about earlier, and the conversation's gone all over the place. But that was the theme earlier. But yeah, I mean, I'm not in vote to wake him up either, Stu. But but I'm not telling you what to do. It's up to you. But I feel bad for him. He works so hard for us all.
Well, it's your show, Eric. So if you say no, then I won't do it.
Oh, I'm not an authoritarian. I just don't. I'm just a extroverted feeler that doesn't like harm, waking people up. Gosh darn it! Why did I ever knock on people's doors on Saturday morning? Because I always cringed. I bet a lot of us fake knocked or silently knocked, and or especially homes where we knew people. But yeah. Anyways, I always don't like. Let's see. Debbie Moore says, "Simply truth. Please just call in." I'll tell you what. I might have a banner here that I could put up for the phone number, and people can just hit *6. Let me see if I have it. I don't have it actually. Oh wait, is this it? No, I got a bunch of banners here, but 6 screens, but it's not any of that. Anyways, I don't have the number in front of me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, is someone trying? I can hear you. Yeah. Hey, actually, does someone know the phone number? Can someone in the comment section put the phone number on there for Simply Truth? If you don't mind doing that. Oh, okay, Carol Paradise said, Eric, I posted the number, so there you go. It's on there in the YouTube comment section. Thank you, Carol.
It should be 727-731-6701.
There you go.
And
Thank you, Sue.
to talk. You're welcome.
Yeah, and then hit *6 to talk. All right. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello. Hey,
I
Eric.
can hear you just fine. Hello. Oh, hey, JP.
Yeah, I'm calling on the phone line. I just want to let you know it works, but StreamYard doesn't work. I was trying to call on StreamYard.
Yeah. Okay. It's been hit or miss with it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep you informed of what's going on.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. You doing all right tonight?
Hey, so what's the topic tonight?
I was talking about all right, so I started off with playing like a clip from Malcolm in the Middle, and it was when Reese was in military boot camp, and he says the drill sergeant says, how in God's green earth did you get your boots in order so quickly before every other soldier? And he says something to the regards of, I just did as I was told and pulled the laces back, polish, repeat. And I applied the same to my footlocker. And he looks over and it's all clean in his bed and footlocker. And he says, I found that if I don't use my brain and just do as I'm told, that life is easier. And I'm much happier that way. He goes, I'm a tool and I'm a happy tool. And I played that clip, and then he goes, "You must be proud, soldier." And he goes, "I don't know if I'm proud or not. I'm waiting for you to tell me." And he says, "My God, a soldier like you comes by once in a lifetime, or whatever." And I use that to just show how Watchtower it wants mindless idiots. And I went into I just to give you a recap. I talked about a Watchtower article back in 71 where they're saying that the governing body are different than a legal corporation. And I went into depth of just a few paragraphs of that and just tied everything that they're doing to us together, and how they just want us to conform, and that they're probably setting us up to leave us with no possessions and hand everything over to them. And just that there's a scheming and that's being done by them right now, and it's been happening for a long time. And I was using that all together, how they love mindless idiots. A soldier like you comes by once in a lifetime. That's the truth of it. That's why we have the circuit overseers and high-ranking people that just obey no matter what. But that's what we were talking about earlier, and then the conversation went a little different directions.
Yeah, well, it's cool, man. Like I was just calling in tonight. Yeah, they definitely do everything that you just said. Like take control of everything and people's mind, the business aspect, all that. You know.
Yeah, for sure, man. They also had like I read another Watchtower article, and it was like all talking about what can we do now to prepare for the future, and it talks about like material things and realizing that one day we will have to part with what we have. So it's like I'm not going to read the whole thing again, but it's just like, what are they preparing everyone for? Like, it seems like there's a takeover about to happen when they're ready for it to happen. And then I talked about them like possibly pushing people into FEMA camps, especially with the drama they had with the people in Africa. And yeah, so that's what we touched on tonight a little bit. And then we also talked about like pain and abuse. It kind of got off topic, and we talked about abuse in the organization too. It kind of went hand in hand because the Watchtower abuses us. But yeah, we talked about a few different things.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, who knows what Watchtower will make JWs do, whether they go into FEMA camps or whatever. I mean, it seems that they're really pushing their members to go just along with whatever the government tells you. But as we can see, you know, myself, and I know I've talked to you in the past, and you're like a prepper too. Like, we can't conform to that kind of mindset. You know, it's just kind of ridiculous to depend on some kind of one religious group or all that. Like, you know, it's we have to take care of ourselves as individuals and just prepare, you know, for whatever might come along, whether it's a natural disaster or earthquake or the end of a world situation. But it seems like the JWs and the governing body, they want to prepare all the witnesses for some kind of a natural disaster or some kind of end of the world situation that's going to somehow involve the governing body. And that's just unrealistic and ridiculous, you know, if you look at the whole situation. And me as a prepper,
if I were still a JW, I would not want the governing body to interfere or have any of these clowns interfering with my preparations, you know, much less being out of the organization. So it's just quite ridiculous. Even the last, like, you seen, Eric, how they have presented themselves, like, in this video that's coming out in the regional convention, and they want to put themselves like how they're trying to interpret the book of Revelation, and these guys always want to present themselves like in some kind of a fantasy world, and they're like the main characters, and that's what you see in this upcoming video, you know, during the summer. It's just ridiculous. It's like we're not going to prepare for you, for the governing body of the org. Like, we're going to prepare for ourselves and for our neighbors. Like, believe me, when there's a natural disaster happening, the last thing I'm going to effing think about is the governing body, you know? So I don't know how the hell these guys are putting themselves in this latest convention video and all that. Like, they're so important, and the end of the world, like all governments, when the end of the world is happening, everybody's going to just be thinking about the governing body. Give me a break. When the end of the world is happening, the last thing that the world is going to be thinking about is you guys. Believe me. And that's what's really sad, is that like a lot of JWs, like my mom and like a lot of other family members, like about a third of my family, they're all like on board with us, and it's just ridiculous. Like, you've seen these videos. Hello?
You asked me a question. You said you've seen these videos, but like I didn't catch what you were saying. You there?
Who is saying hello all the time?
What?
I was the one saying hello. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear anybody say hello.
You are a or
My name is Christopher. I was on the screen as Simply Truth.
Oh, I have a guest on here.
So what's going on, Christopher?
Nothing much tonight, my lady. Just
Hi, Laura.
Hi. I just wanted to go on the live stream link that Rick has on the main channel, and it worked. So.
Oh, cool. Okay. Some people are having trouble with it, some aren't.
Yeah, if you go on Rick's main channel and click those, those three buttons, and then it has the live, the StreamYard. If you click on that, that's what I did. And
oh, okay. Good to know. Thank you so much for helping us out.
Sure, no problem.
Are you on? Do you call on Joe and Fran's show?
Yeah, I was on their show a couple of times. MJ had him on there.
Or heard your voice there. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on. I hope I don't know if we interrupted the brother at all, but I'm just trying to include everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, you're fine. You don't have to be sorry. I don't know if he's still with us.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Anyway, okay. We got a nice little group here.
Okay, can you hear me clear, Eric, on this phone? Or maybe I need to switch another phone, one of my other phones.
I think we can hear you okay.
Okay, yeah, my screen name was Simply Truth. And
oh, okay. Yep.
That was,
yeah, you've been waiting to get on too.
Yeah. I love programs like this. I love the conversations, the camaraderie, and everything. I was one of those born-in JWs, and one of the ones that would have a larger family in the congregation. Matter of fact, my family covered about 2 congregations in the area that I was from. So I know the JWs inside and outside. And most times when I speak to most JWs, I try not to talk to rank and file JWs. I would prefer to talk to elders, traveling overseers, and guys like that, because they have more of a due diligence and responsibility as far as passing on the word. Most rank and file ones, they're so mentally controlled, consciously and subconsciously. They just kind of regurgitate that political party line as if they were a politician. You know, it's almost like parrot talking. But I always approach them from what I call a different angle because of growing up. And first of all, I remember going to the door and my dad giving me an analogy. You go to the door, you got the Watchtower and the wake in your hand, and you tell the person, you said, if I had a glass of water and I dropped a piece of poison in it, would you drink it? And of course the person would say no, little kid. And I would say that, you know, that's how most world religions are. They have that taint of poison and offer them in the magazine. But I use those angles against them because most JWs, most people think that, you know, they are very knowledgeable of the scriptures. They are knowledgeable, but they know what's called proof text scriptures. If you ask them about heaven and hell, you ask them about the 144,000, they've already got it memorized, and it has a surface appearance that they're knowledgeable. But everything that they do is based on a facade. Just like this, I've asked elders and some rank and file members, I said, what you know is proof text. And a lot of it is not within scripture. Like, I think all of us remember growing up, and when it comes to going through Great Tribulation and Armageddon, and they tell us, well, people are going to come back and we're going to have to teach them Jehovah's ways and laws. Okay. And then we're going to grow to perfection. Okay. Where does it say anywhere in the scriptures from Genesis to Revelations where anyone is going to grow to perfection? Where does it say that the JWs are going to have a continuing preaching and learning and teaching campaign, even in the new order? See, they're trying to keep themselves relevant. There's nothing that says that we're going to have to teach people who come back from a resurrected state back to life, teach them Jehovah's ways and laws. The scripture says, Jehovah said, I'm going to put their laws, my laws, in their hearts and minds. That's automatic. There's nowhere to say we're going to grow to perfection. There's no scripture that says that people are going to come back during intervals, and then we're going to teach them these things. And when I sort of give them those softball things, they see where I'm standing as far as I tell them I have a different mindset than I did when I was younger.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, you know, what's funny is that the Jehovah's Witnesses that stay in it, they're always in the same mindset. But when we leave, our mindset completely changes. That's why they don't want us going to college. That's why they don't want us mixing in with worldly people with quotation fingers. You know, they don't want us our brainwashing to be broken for 2 seconds. It's why when you're disfellowshipped and you get reinstated,
can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I was going to say what Brother said. He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a recently baptized Christian, I absolutely agree with what he was saying.
I like it too. I think the point that they have no proof scriptures. There's no scriptures that prove their point. They can say all they want. They point scriptures for all their other doctrines. Why can't they point to them for these? That's a very
Exactly,
good point.
Susan.
Exactly, Susan. Exactly, Susan.
Thanks, Susan, for bringing that out. You're absolutely right.
Congratulations on being a new Christian.
The Jehovah's Witnesses used to be a little better with their Bible, but still not be able to hold up against like a Trinitarian. But now they can't hold up against anybody. They don't even do they even use the Bible anymore? I don't know. When I hear governing body talks, they quote Watchtower like it is the Bible. And I'm like, geez, it's bad, you know. Well, the Watchtower of 2022 or 2020 or 2008, whatever. And it's like they just quoting it like it's scripture, and it's like, well, that doesn't mean anything. Of course, you're going to quote your own material.
Well, you know what, Eric? I called in about the governing body thing. I'll get to that in a little while. If I control what you see, hear, and read, then I control your reality. And once I can control your reality, I can control your actions. I can control your actions of what you do with your spouse, what you do with your children. And that's what they do. That's why they tell you, don't read any other material. Don't watch this. Don't participate with worldly people. But like I tell them, all of us are of the world. It's in the control of Satan. So we live within the world. We are all worldly people. And what happens is that they put up this facade of cleanliness. And I made this analogy on another show. I said that, let's say Sunday morning, let's take a local Kingdom Hall, and you take any church you choose. And the pastor gets up and he says, listen, God told me to ask you these questions, and you have to answer honestly. And the elder gets up in the Kingdom Hall, he does the same thing. Jehovah says you have to give an honest answer. Now, the elder gets up and he says, listen, anybody who's stolen anything, raise your hand. Anybody who's committed fornication, adultery, coveted something from their neighbor, watched pornography, did anything illicit as far as idolatry. Now, at the end of all those questions, how many people do you think wouldn't have their hand raised in the Kingdom Hall or the church?
Nobody had their hand raised.
Right. Right. But the JWs will always, like I said, they'll have like the scripture says, a form of godly devotion, but proven false to its true power. So they mask their dirt unless it comes forward. But like I said, nobody, maybe except for a few people, wouldn't have their hand raised. So what is the difference if nobody kept their hand down in the Kingdom Hall versus the church? Like I said, in the interconnection, we are all worldly people. So the JWs, they always present themselves in a moral standard thing, which is great. But you overdo it, and you have this this good button-up boy shirt type attitude when you have the same problems, whether it's the younger ones, whether it's the older ones. It's all the same problems because they're going to exist until the end of time.
Absolutely, dude, and you're right. They all are one and the same, and they can't. Yeah, good point, man. Really good point. Sorry, I got a little quiet.
Oh, that's all right, but like I said, the main reason I called in because when I clicked on the link, I heard every time I hear that word governing body, it almost like triggers me a little bit. And like I said in one of the comments, the only way to make a JW wake up or almost give them that baby shaking syndrome is to use the same tactics that we used to do at the door. You know, you let the person ask the question and then you answer the question. So I play kind of coy and I say, well, I think differently than I did before. And they said, well, Christopher,
you know, said that you like to talk to the elders and not the rank and file. Is that right? Is that you?
Yeah, because see,
I understand that because the elders, you're right, they do know better. Like my father was an elder, and he told me because I've been disfellowshipped twice, and he told me always appeal. And I said, what? And he said, you heard me, always appeal it. And I said, why? He said, because they're just men and they don't make the best decisions all the time. But like I think my dad started alcoholism a little bit from the hard life that he's not an elder anymore, but he disfellowshipped somebody. Meanwhile, this guy doesn't have control of his family. You know, there's physical and mental abuse from both parents in the home, and the kids are acting out. I was smoking pot. My brother was fooling around with a girl. I mean, he had no business being an elder, and he stepped down willingly because he knew. I think he knew, but I think it bothers him to this day. You know, and I think it bothers a lot of elders. I think they almost set like or ex-elders, maybe even the ones that do it too. I mean, like there was an elder, like I've said on the show a lot of times, but he came down. He was called the hairy arm. His name was John Brayton. He used to put his arm around you and counsel you, and he had a really hairy arm, and that's why he got that nickname. Oh, the link is back up on StreamYard. Rick put it up, so if anybody wants just to click on it in the comment section, you can click on it. But yeah, he used to do that, and then he became an alcoholic, and he got disfellowshipped himself, and then he got reinstated and disfellowshipped right again, and died of alcoholism. But that's our elder arrangement. You know, they say it's from Jehovah, but it's proof that it isn't, just that one case alone. But Alora, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you wanted to add anything, or was there something you wanted to say?
Oh no, I'm
I
just
can't remember what
really,
your name was, but that's your YouTube name.
yeah, Laura. Yeah, I forget where I read it or I watched a video, and someone who was disfellowshipped, he came back and he sat in the back and he got reinstated, but it was an example. He said that he just did the lip service and he got reinstated, and it was to prove that they weren't following the Holy Spirit, they weren't inspired, because he just proved it that they didn't follow, you know, that they weren't inspired. And of course he's, disassociated himself again, but yeah, they're just men, flawed men.
They are.
And
they're not the best of them.
No, and well, I think the best of them have already woken up and are already out already.
I mean the best of men in generality.
Well, yeah.
Or generally. Like Jehovah's Witness men, and speaking for myself, I'm a much better man not being a Jehovah's Witness. I was obnoxious and angry as a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm set free from that now. And my family is not. They're still stuck in it. Oh, it's like, who's the adult here?
Yeah.
I
still have family.
Witnesses are allergic to self-growth. Do you feel that way?
Oh, I completely feel that way. They're not therapists, and they discourage you from getting therapy from real issues, from real trauma. So, and so that's what perpetuates the anxiety, the trauma, the issues. It's not God's organization. It really isn't. And I think there's a lot more PMOs than PMO Jehovah's Witnesses than there are, true Jehovah's Witnesses. And they just stay in it just for family.
I got you.
So they're not shunned.
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying. It's sad, isn't it?
It's very sad because you're not your authentic self when you're in it. That's why a lot of the kids lead double lives. Mm-hmm.
You know what, Eric?
I'm
That's
just gonna ask the I'm just gonna ask the audience real quick. Can everyone hear me okay? Am I cutting in and out, or is it better now?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, hear you, loud and clear. I just wanted
Okay,
to
thank you.
ask one question, not to interrupt what everyone was saying, but I was listening, to what, one of the brothers mentioned about FEMA camps and the governing body and the organization. I'm not
Yeah,
trying
go
to get
ahead.
off, push anyone
No,
off the.
we were talking about that. It's okay.
Is that something gonna happen? Is that something new with the organization?
I think it's something that we're speculating because of the video that they gave out. The video that they gave out in the last convention, was it 2023 or I don't know. But it was in Africa, and it showed a family that wasn't listening to the direction at first, but then did, and they ended up at FEMA camps, and one of the most or of constant. Well, yeah, it was a FEMA camp, and one of the most obnoxious things with it is it had the hand symbol for donating, and it was a donation, like a makeshift donation box at a FEMA camp. And that's not the only reason why I personally feel that way. It's because I know that FEMA camps exist, and I know they run on a railroad, and they go throughout the United States, and it's been discovered on TV and exposed in the media. But regardless, they call them re-education centers, not concentration camps. And so they're not a threat right now. But the thing is that Watchtower is so in bed with the government because they pushed the jab or the vaccine, and it would just make sense that they'd have the people leave their homes. And this is all speculation, but for me, it just makes sense that to have them leave their homes and go to these FEMA camps because they're going to obey the government. They've been obeying the government way too much, and they use the scripture, "Pay back Caesar's things to Caesar." Well, Caesar's telling you things to do that aren't with God's commands. So I don't know. These guys are cherry pickers, and that's what I got out of it. But it doesn't mean it's true. But in speculation, that's what I feel like could happen. They're already pushing the jab, and who pushes the jab?
Weird.
The
It's kind of
government.
weird because
It's just weird. It's just weird. What else did they do? They pushed the go bags, and I heard on my local radio station, you get go bags in case of emergency. And if you want to hear more information, go to jw.org. So what are they in bed with the government? Like, is this a plug? What is this? Why am I hearing this on FM radio? I'm just listening
and
to a
this
college
also
radio
say
station.
about the UN is, has something to do with the harlot writing the what do you call the scarlet colored wild beast and all that. They're not supposed to be in conjunction with, as they said, the enemy, and they're talking about how Jehovah is going to destroy these governments. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, something was like you said, yeah, something weird is going on, and you're like they said, one hand washes the other, or something like that, and they called hey, Watchtower was part of the NGO with the UN a while back or something like that. What do you call it? Non-governmental agency? Yeah, it's so crazy with this new crap and everything, and it's gonna cause. Hopefully, it doesn't turn into a Jim Jones, Heaven's Gate
you know, People's Temple, Branch Davidian crap, you know. There's something that's just weirding me out about the organization. I'm Palmo anyway, but it's just like so freaking weird. You know, that's all I wanted to say. I'm just like, you know, like, wait.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Laura Mermaid says she don't like her voice, or sounds like Pee Wee Herman. I don't like my voice. I've heard it. I feel like I sound like a nasally Ray Romano. Yeah. Deborah, get back here. I don't know. I don't like my voice either. But yeah, I think Anne Marie said she's going to see Pasta Babe. Yeah, she's coming on, and I'm probably going to be winding down soon, but not on this show. But she's coming, or she should be on her own show. Yeah, I love Linda James, good person. We used to have a show together until it got bombarded with hatred. You know, there's always going to be people out there that just want to ruin it for everyone. I don't know. That story of the lifetime. It always happens. I've almost left here too. Yeah, good night, Carol. And I just wanted to say hello to everybody that's been on here tonight. I don't know how much longer I'm going to go. It's about 1 a.m. here. But
Yeah, one comment before I go, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what I want most of the listeners to look at, because I know a lot of some shows. Yours is a little more information based, a little. Some are a little emotional based. Everything has a place for XJWs, even the PMOs. But here's the thing, and this should help. The Matthew 24 chapter, we've all known that, and that is supposed to be the chapter that legitimizes the governing body. Here's one thing. The way that we learn about the faithful and discreet slave being chosen is not the way the order of the chapter is. And I'll leave you with this. It says between 1915 and 1919, there's an inspection of all the world religions, and they were chosen. You know, they try to make it seem so romanticized.
I think they're stating that that Babylon the Great has already fallen. Is that correct? I think they're saying that they've already fallen and that they've been exposed as false religion. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I thought they claimed that.
They could have.
About that.
Just like,
yeah.
I don't know.
But anyways, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, sometimes you got to watch more than one network to get the same story, even if it'll still be out of order. But the way that we learned it, there was an inspection of all the world religions. There's no scripture anywhere, Genesis or Revelations, that says there's a connection or interconnection with a worldwide inspection of all religions in order to select a slave. Okay, if all world religions were involved, like you said, Babylon the Great, we've always been taught that all religions are part of Babylon the Great. They're under the control of Satan. Why would any of these other religions have a chance in the running for faithful slaves? Okay, now I heard you say earlier about spiritual food. There's nothing in Matthew chapter 24, 45 through 50 that says that the serving of any food is a prerequisite or a pre-qualification for selection of the slave. Now, JWs are real picky a lot of times when it comes to terminology and grammar. You can see that at John 1:1 when they start talking about theos, theon, indefinite articles. It says in Matthew, it says, who is a faithful and discreet slave whom the master has appointed? It says appointed, ED. That's past tense. There is nothing in that verse that we learn that says that the master returns to make an appointment or an appointing. Nothing. It says the master comes back to check on the slave, and if he's done well, he places him over all his belongings. Now, according to their new light, they're not placed over all his belongings until a time period in the Great Tribulation. So if they aren't appointed until the Great Tribulation over all belongings, then they have no authority over Jehovah's earthly interests unless it's given to them by the rank and file. Because this verse about the faithful and discreet slave is not a two-part fulfillment. It never says that. It never says the master returns, appoints the slave, leaves, and then he'll have to return again to check on the slave and make the appointment. So do you see where they're playing wordplay games, and it's like having things in plain sight, but the rank and file JWs just follow along. If you ask any rank and file JW, you say, who's in charge over all Jehovah's belongings and earthly interests? They'll say, well, it's the governing body. I say, and they were put in charge? They'll say yes. I'll say, are they currently in charge now? Were they currently during that time period placed? They'll say yes. Even knowing the new light doctrine, they'll still repeat and regurgitate the old.
Right, because they're completely indoctrinated. I wonder if the governing body even plan on that happening when they make changes. They're like, they won't even. They must know that a lot of people are still not going to grow beards. I'm sure a lot did, but I could think of some people in my old hall that are not going to grow beards. Nope, it's just their old school.
They don't, Eric. They don't want the ones like yourself and Rick and Apostle Babe and all those people and all ex-JWs and the ones they call apostates, which I say is a boogeyman tactic. What they want is a new group. They don't want anyone like us or anybody like us that can tarnish their name. They want the ones that are not privy to this information or don't go on the internet and research. Because if you have a couple and they have children, that's another generation. So just by that couple coming in, they've got control of a generation right there. Now, as long as they push you and I out, so what about Christopher and Eric? I got one couple to replace them times 3. So it's mainstream that they're going for. They want to have an appearance to be mainstream. They cut back on the hours. They relax the beards and everything. But here's the thing: if I told you, I know the exact date when the world is going to end, and I told an elder that, and he said, well, Christopher, go ahead and give it to me. I said, are you going to believe it? He said, well, maybe after I hear it. And I say, I took Brother Russell's 1914 and I added this and added this, and it's going to end in 2297. And this is the mathematics and the facts. And I asked the elder, would you believe it? He said, well, Christopher, most likely not. Here's the thing. Even using Russell's recalculated stuff and just giving him a fake analogy, he still wouldn't accept it. Why won't you accept it if I use the mathematics that you went by to come at this point? See, they put everything in front of you and they say, here it is. And then they test the waters. Okay, no beards. Okay, beards. No blood doctrine, fractions, these things. If the rank and file JWs don't cause an uproar, which they're not, then they go on with the next thing. It's almost like lawmakers. They pass something, they know that the people are going to be disgruntled for a little while, but people are forgiven and they go on to the next thing. And that's what the JWs do. So that's why they say, trust me like you trust the voice of Jehovah himself. So when you say that and you don't get any backlash, then you continue and it increases your power. It increases your authority. And it's not always given. It's literally handed to them. They're handing their mind, their body, their consciousness, and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Keith Silver in the comment section says, go ahead.
And Angela were saying that when they went to the assembly, that everyone had their iPads, they didn't have their Bibles. So if they're out at a cart or whatever, do they use, I'm asking because I don't know, do they use their iPads instead of a Bible? What do they do? Does anybody know? I mean, can they even use the scripture?
I could answer that for you. The last time I talked to a Jehovah's Witness, forgive me for not remembering what I was like arguing with or debating with them about, but like I wanted them to look at something and they refused to look at it. And I'm like, my God, why won't you look at it? And they wouldn't look at it. I'm like, it's a Bible verse and it's the New World Translation. And so she like looked at it and typed it up in her tablet or whatever, or phone. I think it was her phone, and she read it. But there's no Bible anymore. They're not even in the carts. They don't use the Bible. Like, well, I mean they do, but they don't use like the physical. And it feels like a disgrace. At what point, like they can just like change the if everything goes digital, they can just change it. They can slip governing body in there.
Wow.
But you know, Eric, here's the thing that a lot of us miss about cart witnessing, and this is what I say. I always got a saying for everything. The cart witnessing, I compared it to the memorial. As you pass the bread and the wine, and you say you're not worthy, basically you deny the body and the blood of Christ. Cart witnessing is the same way. They stand there; they're not active, so it's not a work in progress. So they're not exercising faith in a literal sense. Unless you make a motion to stop or you make some kind of eye contact and come over, the JWs won't actively say, hey, you know, I saw you looking, can I show you something for a second? They won't. So if I'm a non-believer or worldly person, as they say, and I kind of slow down and make a little motion, but don't engage them, and they pass me by, that's no different than them denying me the preaching of the good news of the kingdom, which is supposed to be and was our commandment too back then, but we actively knocked on the doors and had Bible studies. They're denying me the good news of the kingdom and access into the organization the same way they denied the body and when they passed the bread and the wine by. And that's why I notice most people are just like that plate they pass in the memorial.
Laura Mermaid says they're just babysitting the cart literature, and that's exactly it. Because to back up what the brother's saying is, like when I would walk, I tested the cart witnesses, the people at the carts, the witnesses at the carts. There, I couldn't say that right. And I would walk by them first, and they would smile and say hi, and I'd say hi back, but none of them like asked me. Like I got close to them, and then I would pass by, and then I'd come by again, and then I'd start to ask questions. But like that is interesting that you caught that too. Someone was trying to speak. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Oh, maybe not. But yeah, good comment. They do just babysit the cart, basically, so that people don't take. I want the cart actually. I would love to. I don't mean to do an illegal crime, and I wouldn't, but I would love to take one of those carts and then repurpose it and do like an XJW cart and set up right next to them. Legally, you can, and they can get mad at you, but they can't call the cops on you or anything because we have just as much rights to be there as they do. But I know a lot of people think it's bullying, but the thing is that we're activists and that we're trying to wake people up and help people and get our families back, you know, our loved ones, people that we're fond of that we used to have. Not everybody was bad in the organization. I think you all can agree with that.
Yeah, they what you said about doing XJW card. Some XJWs have done it. I read it on Reddit. They have done it. I don't remember what was the response, but they've done it. Hello?
What did they do?
Yeah, I heard you.
They set up a XJW card with telling you know.
I've seen that, and they eventually walk away.
JW fax or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that. Laura says I've seen videos of XJWs doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Eric, I guess I'll get off. I'll let somebody else get a chance to speak, and maybe I'll catch you guys next time. Let me ask you one question, Eric. Did I hear you say you were on Quora also?
Just recently been on there, yeah, and I've been posing questions and stirring up the. Everybody calls me a troll. Maybe I am, but the thing is, but I'm not there to get a reaction out of people necessarily. I'm there. I'm doing activism. I'm posing questions to get people to think. I'm posing questions that need to be answered. You know, and the witnesses think and you know what's funny? Here's another reason why I enjoy doing it, and I guess this does make me a troll because the reactions that I do get off of them, they're exposing who the witnesses are. I get name called all the time. I got this one guy, Ricky Bobby, because that's my name. It was a nickname that I was given. That's why it happens to be the fictional race car driver, Will Ferrell's character. But my family and friends used to call me Ricky Bobby because my name is Eric, and everyone called me Rick, Ricky, or Ricksta, and then it became Ricky Bobby when that movie came out. So I just went with that on YouTube, and I've had that account for so long. But anyways, this one guy, he says Ricky Bobby is mentally diseased. He's an apostate, and he has no place in this group chat. And like I get called all kinds of names. Just harassment from these people and other people, let's call them worldly people with quotation fingers. They're saying, you know, this guy's only asking questions, and
You know what, Eric? You comment on one of my posts that I put up about a week ago. I was talking about the donations for the Jehovah's Witnesses. You remember that?
You there?
Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah. You commented on one of my posts last week.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, it was the comment I wrote about the JWs not really donating, but having an appearance about donating. You remember that?
Yeah, I do now. I don't remember what I said because I've been busy on there, but how did I do?
You did good. I said thank you for the support, blah, 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 and everything. But, you know, yeah, when you said that name, Ricky Bobby, I recognized it.
Yeah. All right, gotcha. Yeah, that's me. I try to watch what I say because I get trolled a lot by witnesses. There's this guy, Mark Lawrence. He is just outright nasty to me, calling me names, just always like nasty. And I guess you could consider it me calling a name. I said, you know, Mark, you seem like a low IQ because you come off a bully and just attack people when your beliefs are challenged. You know, I mean, people say all the time to me, the witnesses, they say we report you all the time, but Quora does nothing about it. But the interesting thing is that you've probably noticed it yourself. There actually are Jehovah's Witness trolls on there that are probably Bethelites, and they're lying and saying that the disfellowshipping arrangement doesn't happen like us apostates say it does. That it's we just don't speak to them spiritually. They say that the blood transfusion thing is a what do you call it, matter, a conscience matter. There's all kinds of lies on there. I'm like, none of this is true. There's lies about
Eric, you're being very brave. You're being very brave, Eric. You know, when Jesus was on the earth, the scribes and Pharisees had a hissy fit whenever he brought up anything that irritated their way of thinking. The witnesses should be glad to stand up for their beliefs and be glad to make scriptural comments, but they don't. They're too lazy or they don't know. So you're very brave, and you're probably shaking them up more than you know. That's why they're angry. The reason they're angry is because you're hitting their buttons.
I'm gonna add this to I said it was gonna be the last thing. I won't say the place again, but you can instead of saying one word, you can monopolize your on certain houses. You know what I'm saying, Eric? But the thing that surprised me, and I brought to the JW's attention, is if you say we don't have a paid clergy and we don't pay our elders, why are you trying to benefit from gaining more followers onto your page? And that's exactly what some of them do. So basically, that's no different than you're trying to sell Jehovah's Word for 30 pieces of silver.
Yeah, I agree, man. But yeah, there's a lot of damage control done by Watchtower on that site, and there's a lot of misinformation and it's deceiving, and I don't appreciate it one bit. For all of us here, like Nadine, that calls in, she's so quick to answer the questions. We're all been so indoctrinated by this organization that we know this religion really, or cult really well. And so when they say things that aren't true, and it's like, no, that's not accurate. You know. Oh, Eddie Sneers says, hello, Eric. Greetings from Belgium. It's morning here, just awake. That's cool. Rick gets people from all around the world. Isn't that so nice? Right, Susan. Your husband does a great thing for all of us.
It's his pleasure.
And I know it's his pleasure. He and his passion, because he puts a lot into it, and you both of you do such a great job. Thank you for your sacrifice. We both love we all love having a place to heal and make friends, you know.
I wanted to ask you, Eric, if tomorrow could you give Rick and I a call briefly?
Oh, sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Morning or afternoon? Oh, well, maybe afternoon, since I'll be sleeping in the morning.
Yeah, when it's convenient for you, that would be fine.
Like maybe afternoon, something like that.
Yeah, sometime that would be fine. There's no program tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, sounds good. I always like hearing from you both. Well,
are you getting?
Are you? Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it's like 1:15 and it's quietening down a little bit. I think there isn't any last comments or anything. I think we'll probably end it here. That's okay.
Well, I get concerned about you too. You know, if you're tired, you need to take care of yourself too.
Yeah, I usually go to like 1 or 2. Sometimes I think I've done 4 o'clock, haven't I? Once, or maybe it went to 4 with Pixie and and Gilbert. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people in the comment section going to bed, and I think I'm gonna hang it up here. Well, yeah. If there's any final words, Sue or anybody else on, my phone keeps going off. I don't know why it's doing that. But yeah, if anybody else wanted to say anything before I conclude. Oh, thank you, Laura. it's been a really good show, being with you guys every other week, and I love the audience. I'm not going to name all the names because I'll just forget people, but I love you all, and you all know who you are, and you know, hang in there because I know we get discouraged a lot that of the injustice that of the Watchtower, and that they've I think they made a comment one time, the governing body, saying that these religious leaders think that they're getting, or the political leaders are getting away with it, and that's not going to happen forever. Actually, that applies to them, and it's not going to happen. They're not already not getting away with it, and we're watching them squirm like a worm in the sunshine. And I hang in there and keep faith and make friends, and come on to Rick's network and Sue's network and heal with us. And we love you all. And my phone keeps shutting off. And good night, everybody. And good night, Sue, and good night, Rick. And love you all. Take care.